Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Srila Prabhupada.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsya Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradaite Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratvashe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna. Some points from yesterday?
So we started a discussion with Gyan and Vairagya. How Gyan and Vairagya are impediments in the path of devotional service. But Gyan, which is favorable to Bhakti, and Yukta Vairagya, they are accepted. So you gave the example of if one does austerities which is beyond Svanadhikar, then one gets easily agitated. Like Rudra resides in austerities.
Right. Good. Thank you. This Murari Prabhu wants to speak something.
A sincere desire is the only qualification to practice bhakti.
Right.
And the impersonalistic jnana and dry renunciation makes hard-hearted.
So, what is the result of that? What is the problem with hard heart?
Offense happens.
Okay. What's the problem with the hard heart?
Actually, to practice the bhakti, soft heart is required.
Why?
Emotions doesn't come out in a hard heart.
Prema is emotions.
Yes. So
yes, emotion. To feel the
only
emotion.
a soft heart is moved by spiritual emotions. Okay, good.
And the 3 types of austerities are there.
ठीक है.
Prabhuji, money, Lakshmi is the property of Narayan. So we should utilize properly. Otherwise, it become illusion and greed arises.
So anyway, your name is Danveer, right? So you have no problem. That's what. No, he gives, he doesn't accept. He only gives.
In Jnana, we saw the examples like Vishwamitra Muni, who was doing tapasya, but because it was not bhakti, so that's why there was Durvasa Muni also.
Correct.
There. And then you asked one question, why Srila Sanatana Goswami not use that? forest money.
Hmm.
So he was just wanted to show to devotees.
What? Show what?
Personally, they are able to see everything as spiritual, but we are not on that plane that we can see, utilize everything on the.
So what is that proper statement?
If one, unless one is not able to see everything in as a spiritual relation with Supreme
One should
Lord,
always
must
distinguish between spirit,
Spirit
and
and
matter. Some sentences like that you should memorize.
So adhikar for yukta vairagya, we should have adhikar to use
Yes, and who decides the adhikar?
spiritual master under the guidance.
Right. Okay, good.
Devotional service is meant for advertisement, like sadhana roop and siddha roop. Sadhaka roop is it can be external, but siddha roop is it internal. We should not show it to others.
Right. Okay, good. Huh?
Guruji, you told about devotional service is not meant for advertisement.
हाँ भी
So,
वही बोला. हाँ ठीक है आगे आगे कुछ बोलो.
so you told that Srila Prabhupada has given everything. In your Bhagavatam class also you told how we get transformed to Raganuga. Though the externally everything remains same, internally it is just the difference of mood. We have to continue what we are doing. And ISKCON will give everything. We should not
Why?
run any after.
Why?
Because the process given is perfect, as Rupa Goswami has described. So there are many pseudo people who follow some pseudo guru leaving ISKCON, thinking that they will practice Raganuga Bhakti, which they are not able to practice here, and they end up reaching nowhere.
Okay, so why our process is automatically giving Raganuga?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
हाँ बोलो माइक है आपके पास.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there. Is
so?
Golokya Premananda Harina.
So
So he came from Goloka.
give a little more philosophical answer.
Anarpita Charitiram, that sloka.
आज जो क्लास में सुना वही बोल रहे.
Because Ragana Bhakti by definition is following.
हाँ.
Ragana Bhakti by definition is to follow a Ragatmika devotee who is a
हाँ.
reflector of Vrindavan. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radharani himself, who is that he is the epitome of
Is Krishna in the mood of Radharani?
Krishna in the mood of Radharani, who is epitome of that Brajavasi. So following him is following a Ragana Bhakti, which satisfies the destination that we follow Ragana.
Right. So we are following the greatest Ragatmika devotee, that is Srimati Radharani.
And also in this regard, we saw that Tulsi Arti we singing, that is also at
Right,
that
it's on the
platform.
Raganuga platform.
So one more thing you tell about that Raganuga Bhakti, that those who had attained perfection, even they has to also behave on the stage of neophyte duty, like for
Follow, what does it mean? Act like neophyte means? Yes,
and
follow all
regulations.
the rules and regulations like any other neophyte devotee.
Prabhu, you said that Madhavendra Puri did not run after fame, but fame ran after him.
Krishna's God.
Guruji, we should practice good qualities as austerity to protect from offenses and to please Guru and Krishna.
Good, you learn that. Huh?
And two types of Ragatmika Bhakti, Kama Rupa and Sambandha Rupa.
Right.
Kama Rupa is in Madhurya state.
Yes.
Gopis and all comes in that. And Sambandha Rupa, Sakya, Dasya and
Vatsalya.
Vatsalya.
We discussed Raganuga Bhakti is an internal meditation. Like you gave example of Rupa Goswami. So Rupa Goswami in sadhana is as Rupa Goswami and Siddha is Rupa Manjari. So the Goswamis, they were also internally meditating but not making a show externally like Sahajiyas or Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes about. We were discussing that point. How there are many Sahajiyas who externally imitate what. So it's basically a cheap show of devotional service.
Correct. So devotee doesn't make cheap show. Akrur Pro is something.
So here the Raganuga Bhakta are also doing same as the Vaidhi Bhakta, but the difference is in the terms of their lolyam. The Raganuga Bhakta, they do with the thing that if they do it, then they will get the result. But all the Vaidhi Bhakta, they do because it is prescribed by the Shastra. It is a compulsion.
Good.
Also discussed about eligibility for Raganuga Bhakti, that first the material contaminations in the heart should go away.
Correct.
That is the eligibility, means anartha nivritti should be sufficiently happened, and it happens at the later stage of asakti. And asakti is such a stage that remembering Krishna becomes natural for a devotee, and means like that is his means like natural state of his consciousness. So from that stage onwards, he can further go on to the other practices in Raganaga Bhakti, like meditation on specific role model from Vrindavan, especially Vrajavasis or something.
Yes. Okay, good.
Nowadays, some people do try out gopi bhav externally, but not internally. So they just dressing outer side and try to gopi bhav like gopi, Vrindavan's gopi. But that gopi bhav comes even if we follow the Vaidhi Bhakti, and that the spontaneous love comes by the mercy of Guru and the Krishna. Then we
Good.
can.
Yes.
Praj, you told about that, like we, along with the money comes the Kali. So as soon as till the time we are not purified, means then as soon as money comes, then we use for our sense gratification. So whenever money matter comes, that time we have to be very transparent.
Yes. Extremely careful, Prabhupada. Extremely careful. Okay, one last point.
Ragatmika has two types. So Kama Rupam is gopis. One example. हो गया क्या?
हो गया.
So about prasadam.
So what are similarly two types of Raganuga?
Kamanuga and Sambandha.
Kamanuga, Sambandhanuga.
So you said.
And then Prabhupada discussed that whole story about the sages of Dandakaranya. For what he discussed?
Male can have.
Yeah, so the external body has nothing to do with spiritual matters. So external body can be anything, but the Swarup can be anything in the spiritual world.
Just like we have greed for prasadam, we can go. So similarly, we should have greed for Mangalarti and all.
Greed for satisfying the needs of the soul. Okay, ठीक है. So our Prabhu has put this, so we'll sing this. Radha Kunda Tate Kalinda Tanaya Tire cha Vamshi Vate Premon Madhavashada Shesha Dashaya Grastau Pramattau Sada Gayantau Chakada Harer Gunavaram Bhava Vibhuta Vida Vande Rupa Sanatanau Raghuyugau Shri Jiva Gopalakau. Okay, translation.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Sanatan Goswami, Shri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Shri Raghunath Das Goswami, Shri Jiva Goswami and Shri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who were sometimes on the bank of the Radha Kund lake or the shores of the Yamuna and sometimes at Vamshi. There they appeared just like madmen in the full ecstasy of love for Krishna, exhibiting different transcendental symptoms in their bodies, and they were merged in the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness.
Premon Mad. Okay, what's next? Okay. Okay, Bhav Bhakti. So we are on chapter number 18. 17? Okay. Chapter 17, ecstatic love. Okay, read the first paragraph.
By the process of executing regulated devotional service, one is actually elevated onto the transcendental stage beyond the material modes of nature. At that time, one's heart becomes illuminated like the sun. The sun is far above the planetary systems, and there is no possibility of its being covered by any kind of cloud. Similarly, when a devotee is purified like the sun, from his pure heart there is a diffusion of ecstatic love which is more glorious than the sunshine. Only at that time is the attachment to Krishna perfect. Spontaneously, the devotee becomes eager to serve the Lord in his ecstatic love. At this stage, the devotee is on the platform of Uttama Adhikari, perfect devotion. Such a devotee has no agitation from material affections and is interested only in the service of Radha and Krishna.
So, as Prabhupada is writing here, so the Uttama Adhikari is on the Bhava platform. So, Uttama Adhikari means Bhava platform. Prabhupada is writing here clearly. So, and no agitation from material affection, and is interested only in the service of Radha and Krishna. Okay, so let's go to this definition of Bhava Bhakti. Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma Prema Suryamshu Samya Bhak Ruchivi Chitta Mashrinya Kridasau Bhava Uchyate. When devotional service is situated on the transcendental platform of pure goodness. Okay, so on the Bhava platform, pure goodness begins. Shuddha Sattva. It is like a ray of sunlight of love for Krishna. Prema Surya Amshu. It is like a ray. It's not full Surya, it is Amsha, Amsha of the Surya. So therefore it is like a ray of sunlight of love for Krishna. And what's the result of that? At such a time, devotional service caused the heart to be softened. Softened. Ruchi means chitta masrinya. Chitta masrinya, that is softness of the heart. And it becomes softened, therefore he experiences various tastes, ruchibi. And it is called bhava or emotion. These are spiritual emotions. So therefore, because the heart becomes soft, therefore the soft heart, as we studied yesterday, the soft heart becomes influenced by spiritual emotions. So the heart becomes soft and it becomes influenced by spiritual emotions. Kalakant Prabhu was telling one pastime of how Srila Prabhupada went into spiritual ecstasy in Mayapur. So, thinking about how there will be thousands and thousands of acharyas, he went into ecstasy. So, of course, there are at least 5-6 more instances of Srila Prabhupada going into spiritual ecstasy and exhibiting spiritual emotions externally. And mostly it was all in relation to thinking, meditating on the causeless mercy of Gaunitai. Most of the cases were in connection to that. Causeless mercy of Gaunitai. So, if one can only imagine that, so then the heart becomes moved. Such causeless mercy, unimaginable. Anyway, just to complete that Mayapur story, I don't know if it is on the same instance or another instance. But in any case, so Srila Prabhupada went into ecstasy and then everyone became silent. And then some devotees, so it continued for maybe 2-3 minutes, but in such situations, 2-3 minutes seems a very long time. And so then there was some discussion going on, senior devotees, what should we do? Should we do kirtan or should we not disturb Prabhupada? What to do? So some discussion was going. In the meantime, Prabhupada came out of his meditation, his trance, and then his chant Hare Krishna, Prabhupada went away. But then afterwards, then the senior devotees were discussing, so what in the future if something like this happens, what are we supposed to do? What is the right thing to do? But who is there to give them the answer? There's nobody else. So they finally decided to go to Srila Prabhupada to find the answer. So senior devotees, Brahmanand Prabhu, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, this devotee is very close to Srila Prabhupada, so they got some courage to go and they asked him that question. So Srila Prabhupada, so today you went into this ecstasy and everyone was silent, so what were we supposed to do? We're supposed to chant or do kirtan? What are we supposed to do? Srila Prabhupada didn't take it seriously at all. Srila Prabhupada just said, that doesn't happen too frequently. That's it.
I read this past time in Trivikram Maharaj's book.
Oh, you read there, huh?
So Maharaj says he started chanting Hare Krishna there.
Uh-huh.
So then his other devotee said, why you are disturbing Prabhupada's
Correct.
ecstasy?
Yeah, there was a dilemma there.
So then he checked with Prabhupada and Prabhupada said, that's all right.
Something like that, yes. I heard that Prabhupada just brushed it off saying, it doesn't happen too often, something. Yeah. So, Prabhupada didn't take it seriously, right? He said something like that, it's all right. Okay, so those are symptoms of bhava, when the heart becomes softened by the Shuddha Sattva. Okay, go ahead.
That part of bhakti is called bhava, which essence is sambhed, and hladini sakti, which is one ray of the sun of prema that will soon rise in the heart, and that soften the heart with the desires to meet, serve, and exchange love with Lord.
So, I mean, just on that point of Srila Prabhupada exhibiting these symptoms, so sometimes devotees ask these questions, therefore I'm sharing this point. So sometimes devotees ask this question, so is it possible to reach this stage? Will the process work? So by seeing Srila Prabhupada, we can understand that yes, it is possible. It is possible to achieve that stage. It's not something totally impossible. It's rare, no doubt. We already studied that, Sudurlabha, characteristic of Bhava Bhakti. It's definitely very rare, but still it is possible. So we should not have that question, is it possible? It's definitely possible. When? Sometime. Okay, so the Shuddha Sattva is a combination of Samvid and Ladani Shaktis, that is Shuddha Sattva. So therefore, on this platform there can be no ignorance, because Samvid Shakti is descending. So there's full knowledge, there's full cognizance, full knowledge, and Ananda, Ladani Shakti, Ananda. And so even Kalakanta Prabhu the other day was sharing that how whatever happened, Srila Prabhupada was always happy. And that was one symptom which attracted many people actually. Even Shyamsundar Prabhu says the same thing. In the initial days, 67, when Srila Prabhupada had nothing, correct? Nothing was there at that time. There was no money, no facilities, nothing. No followers, nothing. But still Srila Prabhupada was always happy. So that was very surprising. Because when a person is happy, when he has material things, in the material world, person at least apparently is satisfied when he has some material things. But the Swamiji has no material things and still is happy. That means what? He has something else. That is why they became curious. What does the Swamiji have that he is so happy without any material things? So that increased their curiosity. Let us find out what does the Swamiji have. So that is the Samvid and Ladhani Shakti. And this is just one ray of the sun of Prema. And then Prema is full blown. And so in the Madhur Kadamani, Vishwanath Thakur gives the analogy of the stage of Asakti. It is like flower. Sorry, it is like bud. The stage of Asakti is like bud. Then the stage of Bhava is like bloomed flower, blossomed flower. And Prema is fruits. Prema is the fruit of the tree, fruit of love of Godheads. Okay. So Bhava Bhakti Swarup Lakshan. The Swarup Lakshan is Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma. This is the Swarup Lakshan. Okay, read.
Stage in which Shuddha Sattva enters the devotee's heart. When a person eagerly wants to serve the Lord, the Shuddha Sattva potency may enter his heart through the mercy of a devotee. When Shuddha Sattva touches the heart, it energizes the seed of prema and causes it to sprout ankura. Consequently, Srila Rupa Goswami describes bhava as Premankura, the first spout of prema.
So you see, two important points. When a person eagerly wants to serve the Lord, that's a qualification. What? Eagerly wants to serve, as we already discussed. Laulyam, there has to be laulyam. Eagerness to serve. Then what happens? The Shuddha Sattva potency may enter his heart through the mercy of a pure devotee. We discussed this point, right? When we were discussing Sudurlabha. So it's very rare. The only way one can get is through the mercy of a pure devotee. This is prasa bhakti. We should be convinced of this point. The mercy of the devotee is absolutely essential. Otherwise, Krishna doesn't even look in the direction. As today also Maharaj was explaining about how unless Radharani is pleased, Radharani gives recommendation. Please give some mercy to this devotee. Then only Krishna is sort of inclined to give his mercy. So this is our eternal principle. You see, this is at the stage of bhava. At the stage of bhava also the principle applies. So this principle eternally applies. Even in the spiritual world, the devotees are not eager to render direct service. There also the principle is Gopir Bhartur Padakamalyor Das Das Anudas. That principle exists there also in the spiritual world. So this principle always exists. This is a principle of bhakti. So therefore, being eager to attract the mercy of the acharyas, of the devotees is very important. So when Shuddha Sattva touches the heart, then it energizes the seed of prema. So there's a seed. Seed is always there, right? Nitya Siddha, Krishna Prem, Sadhya Kabal. Shravanadi, Shuddha Chitte, Karoyi Uddhava. So the seed of prema is there, especially one receives the Bhakti Lata Bij from the spiritual master. And so that's how one receives the seed of devotional service. Especially in this age of Kali Yuga, by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, lot of seeds are being distributed. As we discussed, anyone enters this temple, he gets a seed. Free of cost. He gets the seed of prema. This is mercy of Mahaprabhu. Just by entering this temple, he gets the seed. But then what he has to do after getting the seed? That's whose problem? That is that individual's problem. Then after that, he has to do the watering part. Mahaprabhu doesn't do the watering part. Mahaprabhu's business is give the seed. So millions of seeds are being distributed. You can see that. Millions, literally millions of seeds. But only some take the trouble to water. So some take the trouble to water, some take the trouble to protect it. So there are so many factors for the Bhakti Lata to grow. Okay, go ahead. So these are the Swarup Lakshan. Shuddha Sattva, as we discussed, comprises the Samvit Shakti, which is the Lord's cognitive potency, descends into the heart, empowers one to perceive and know Krishna. And the Ladhini Shakti is the Lord's pleasure or the devotional potency, descends to the devotee's heart, empowering him to fully manifest blissful love of Godhead. So that's the result of the Samvit Shakti and Ladhini Shakti. Read this.
Shuddha Sattva. The combination of Samvit and Ahladini is called Shuddha Sattva. When one is in contact with Shuddha Sattva, one simultaneously feels nourishment, pushti, and satisfaction, tushti. The Samvit potency nourishes one by the cognition of Krishna as the Hladini potency that is won by devotion for Krishna.
Okay, so we discussed Samvid and Ladhini. Next. Now this is Tatastha Lakshan. So Tatastha Lakshan is Chitta Mashranya, softens the heart. Okay?
Certainly, that heart, the steel framed, which in spite of chanting the holy name with concentration does not change when ecstasy takes place, and tears fill the eyes and hair stand on end. One's heart softens to such an extent that he is often found to be visibly moved by emotions.
Okay, so the heart softens. And then because of the softening of the heart, he experienced various tastes, ruchibi. And so these are different types given. So there's prapti abhilasha, desire to achieve Krishna, anukulya abhilasha, desire to please Krishna with various services, and sauhardha abhilasha, desire to be close at heart with Krishna. So all these various abhilashas, they develop because of the influence of Shuddha Sattva. Okay, now how one achieves Bhava Bhakti? So essentially there are two ways. One is by practice and second is by mercy. By practice, that means sadhana. And so two types of sadhana, Vedi sadhana, Raganuga sadhana. So the example of Vedi sadhana to Bhava and then to Prema is Narad Muni. And for Raganuga, there's an example in the Padma Puran of a lady named as Chandrakanti. Okay, now let's read something from the book. Okay, so okay, read the next paragraph to clarify.
To clarify, in the previous chapters, the symptoms of devotional service were explained along with instructions as to how we may execute devotional service with our present senses and gradually rise to the platform of ecstasy in spontaneous love. And the two kinds of devotional service, namely devotional service through regulative principles and through spontaneous love, were discussed. Within the stage of the regulative principles of devotional service, there are two divisions, namely executive and effective. This effective portion of devotional service is called bhava or ecstasy. In this connection, there is
also that is the result of Vedi. The effective portion, the effect of Vedi sadhana is bhava. That is the meaning.
Ecstasy. In this connection, there is a statement in the Tantras that ecstasy is the first symptom of pure love for the personality of Godhead. And in that stage, one is sometimes found shedding tears or shivering. Not always are these symptoms manifest, but occasionally. When King Ambarisha was put into difficulty by Durvasa, he began to think of the lotus feet of the Lord, and thus there were some changes in his body and tears were falling from his eyes. These symptoms are activities of ecstasy. They are visible in the shivering of the body and the shedding of tears. After the outward appearance of these ecstatic symptoms, they stay within the mind, and a continuation of the ecstasy is called samadhi. This stage of appreciation becomes the cause of future exchanges of loving affairs with Krishna.
Okay, continue.
Elevation to this stage of ecstasy can be possible in two ways. One way is by constant association with pure devotees. The other way is by the special mercy of Krishna or by the mercy of a pure devotee of Krishna. Elevation to the ecstatic stage of life is generally attained through association with the pure devotees, while elevation to that stage by the special mercy of Krishna or his devotee is very rare. The purport is that one should execute devotional service rigidly in the association of devotees so that there will be certainty in rising oneself to that ecstatic position. In special cases, of course, there is special favor from Krishna, and although we should always expect that, we should not sit idly and simply wait for Krishna's special mercy. The regular duties must be performed. It is just as when sometimes it is found that a person who never attended school or college may be recognized as a great scholar, or an honorary degree from great universities may be offered to him. But this does not mean that one should avoid school and expect to automatically receive an honorary degree from some university. Similarly, one should devoutly execute the regulative principles of devotional service and at the same time hope for Krishna's favor or for his devotees' favor.
Okay? So both the ways are there to achieve bhava. One is by Vedi and other is Raganuga, and the other way is by causeless mercy. The causeless mercy of the Lord or his devotee. That means without any practice, one by causeless mercy one directly jumps to bhava stage. So as we will see, some examples are there, very rare, but some examples are there. So if somebody thinks, I'll also get mercy, special mercy will come and directly bhava will come. I won't do anything. So Prabhupada is an example, just like a person may get honorary PhD. In one lecture, Rabindranath Tagore got, right? Rabindranath Tagore, he got honorary PhD. So how many get honorary PhD? So what is the probability that any one of us can get? So if somebody thinks I won't go to school, college, hopefully university will give honorary PhD. Possibility is very less. So similarly, we have to do our part. We have to do our part. Vedi sadhana bhakti, we have to do sincerely and seriously and then expect the Lord's mercy. One cannot expect to get the Lord's mercy without doing the Vedi sadhana bhakti. Okay, then in the next paragraph, Prabhupada is basically giving the example of Narad Muni. So we all know the story of Narad Muni. So we won't read that paragraph. That whole paragraph is the story of Narad Muni.
Narad Muni got mercy of Bhakti Vedantas.
Correct.
So how we are saying it is by practice? It is like mercy of...
No, he got mercy to begin his practice, but then he practiced, no? Throughout his life he practiced. Then he got purified.
But even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave the mercy to South India, all devotees. So that is also same thing.
That is causeless.
So it's a full Krishna prema, fully they got,
Yes.
or still the practice?
Yes.
They
That is very special. So that is what happens when the Supreme Lord comes or his very much exalted acharyas come, then they have such power that they distribute mercy like that.
That was not seed, that was full Krishna prema.
Direct fruit. No seed, fruit, direct fruit.
You are talking about that Bhagavad Gita wala Brahman.
No. When Mahaprabhu was preaching in South India,
Okay.
so simply by his glance and embrace, he was directly giving prema. Immediately the person would develop ecstatic symptoms, start jumping, dancing. And so he is behaving like madman. And so many other people would come to see what has happened to this fellow. Till now he was normal, what happened?
They also get prema.
And so when they would come to see,
They also get...
then they also same situation. So like that, the spreading of Krishna consciousness took place. But that happened only during that time, Mahaprabhu's time. But please remember the other side of the story. During Mahaprabhu's time, they got mercy like that, and they got result of offenses also like that. Immediately leprosy. We read, no? On the spot leprosy. So that is what happens. When these empowered people come, they get mercy also like that, and they lose mercy also like that.
You are Prabhupada and hippies.
Yes, Srila Prabhupada and the hippies also. Of course, it's not like Mahaprabhu's time, but still, it's quite a radical transformation within very short time. So why? Because these personalities are empowered. That's called empowerment. Bhakti Shakti. So it's empowerment. So these personalities simply by their glance, and therefore we find so many Prabhupada disciples, they remember even the glance of Srila Prabhupada at them. They remember that. And so many of them say that when Srila Prabhupada looked at them, they could feel that Prabhupada's glance was going through them like X-ray. Right? Many of them say that. And everything is being exposed. Just that glance. So many of Prabhupada's disciples just describe that glance of Srila Prabhupada. So these are highly empowered personalities. So it's not that these people understood philosophy, this, that. No, they hardly understood any philosophy. But it's just the empowerment. Bhakti Shakti. They took up the process. So these are all very special times in history. Now that phase is over. Anyway, it just reminds me of one pastime of one, I think Atmatattva Prabhu, yes, he tells this. So Atmatattva Prabhu, he came in contact with one old man, elderly person, Indian. And then he brought him to, one day he brought him to Srila Prabhupada. And so Srila Prabhupada spoke something. And then Srila Prabhupada asked him, do you know how to chant? The man said, no. So Srila Prabhupada said, okay, get one mala. So they gave Prabhupada one mala. And Srila Prabhupada chanted on those beads. One full round he chanted. One full round he chanted and gave it to the man. He taught him also how to chant, and in the process he chanted one full round. And then he gave. Normally this doesn't happen, right? Prabhupada did that. And the man, he took the beads, started chanting, and within a few days he left his body. Very special. So all these, during Prabhupada's time also, there were many special incidents taking place like that. So later on we don't find so many. So these are all cases of very special mercy. So now we cannot expect such things. Now we have to sincerely work hard. Of course, those things are there because from previous life or whatever. But in general, to get the full fruit, then one has to work hard, follow the process. Okay, so that's the point. Okay, now, so this is, okay, by Vedi. Then by Raganuga, there is this example of this lady named Chandrakanti. Prabhupada writes in this chapter, he just gives a small reference to this. So you can see a few paragraphs down. So he's quoting from before that, 3rd canto, 25th chapter, verse 25. You know this famous verse. What is that? 3:25-25? Yes, Satam Prasangan Vamshi. So he's quoting that verse to explain what? Importance of association. So Vaidhi Bhakti means in the association of devotees. So for that he's quoting this verse. And then after that, he's quoting in the Padma Puran, there is the story of a neophyte devotee who, in order to raise herself to the ecstatic platform, danced all night to invoke the Lord's grace upon her. And then he further describes this in the chapter 19. So you can see in chapter 19, you see under the title, there is a title, The Lord's Extraordinary Mercy. Just before that, there's one paragraph in the Padma Puran. You read that?
In the Padma Puran, there is a statement about ecstatic love born of spontaneous affection. Chandrakanti, a celebrated fair-faced girl, rigidly observed celibacy in order to obtain Krishna as her husband. She always engaged herself in meditating on the transcendental form of the Lord and always chanted the glories of the Lord. She did not desire to accept anyone else as her husband. She had firmly decided that only Lord Krishna would be her husband.
Yes, so this is the example of Chandrakanti, who from Raganuga came to Bhava and then Bhava to Prema. That is the example. Now the next is by mercy. So by mercy there are 3 ways: words, glances, good wishes. Vachika, Darshandan, and Harda. And there are these examples. So Prabhupada also gives the same examples. You can read from Prabhupada's book. Sometimes, however, it is found.
17th chapter.
Yes, 17th chapter. We read about this Chandrakanti in the Padma Puran, then after that, in the 17th chapter.
Sometimes, however, it is found that without undergoing any devotional processes, one all of a sudden develops devotion for Lord Krishna. This sudden development of the devotional attitude in a person must be understood as a special mercy of Krishna or of his devotee. This apparently accidental development of ecstatic feelings through the causeless mercy of Krishna can be divided into three groups: simply by speaking, simply by glancing, and simply by good wishes.
So then examples for each of these. Okay, read.
In the Naradiya Puran, there is a statement about development of ecstatic love simply by speaking. Lord Krishna said to Narad, O best of the Brahmanas, I wish that you may develop unalloyed devotional service to me, which is full of transcendental bliss and all auspiciousness.
So you see, Narad Muni is an example of both. So, as the son of a maid servant, then he is the example of Vaidhi Bhakti. Okay, but it's not that Narad Muni only appeared as the son of a maid servant. Narad Muni is basically who? Yes, he's son of Brahma. Okay, he's son of Brahma. So in one of his lives, he appeared as the son of a maid servant. Okay, of course, we know that history, he was Upabarna and then he got cursed by the Devatas and therefore. So that happened in some kalpa that happened. But otherwise, he's son of Brahma. And so he basically receives this causeless mercy of Krishna, these blessings of Krishna, and he directly comes to the platform of bhava and prema. Okay, so that's normal, that's his usual, or what you can say, the actual way he came to bhava and prema, simply by blessings. He is son of Brahma, and then of course as son of Brahma also we understand that he is empowered to spread bhakti. That is, he is like Shaktavesh. He is like Shaktavesh who is empowered to spread bhakti, bhakti shakti. But in any case, so he got this causeless mercy of the Lord, and as a result of which he developed bhava and prema. Okay? Next. So this is the first one, Vachika. Continue.
In the Skand Puran, there is a statement about developing ecstatic love toward Krishna simply by glancing. It is stated there, when the inhabitants of Jangal province saw the personality of Godhead, Krishna, they were so stricken with feeling that they could not withdraw their glance from him.
Yes, so this is, they got causeless mercy by glance. Yes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's example is.
As far as heartfelt wishes are concerned.
So that is about glances, darshandan. Now good wishes.
As far as heartfelt wishes are concerned, there is a statement in the Shuka Samhita where Narada tells Srila Vyasadeva, you have a son who is the greatest devotee of the personality of Godhead. And I can observe that without any following of the regulative principles of devotional service. He is already enriched with many of the symptoms achieved by the execution of devotional service after many, many births.
So in this way Narada blessed Shukadev.
As for ecstatic love of Krishna, there is a statement in the 7th canto, 4th chapter, verse 36 of Srimad Bhagavatam, in which Narada addresses King Yudhishthir. My dear king, it is very difficult to describe the character of Prahlad. He developed a natural attraction for Krishna, and whatever I can explain about his character will simply be an arrangement of words. His actual character is impossible to describe. This means that Narada himself admitted that the natural development of Prahlad's ecstatic love was by the grace of Lord Krishna.
Okay, so this is, of course, Narada himself blessed Prahlad. When he was in the womb only, he got blessings of Prahlad. So that's how Prahlad gets blessings. Okay, continue.
This natural attraction for Krishna on the part of Prahlad Maharaj was developed simply by the mercy of Narada. When Prahlad Maharaj was within the womb of his mother, she was being sympathetically instructed by Narada about the science of devotional service. And at the same time, Narada was wishing that the child within the womb could also take advantage of the instructions. Because Narada, an authorized devotee and great associate of the personality of Godhead, was desiring auspiciousness for Prahlad Maharaj, he developed all the characteristics of high grade devotee. This is called natural attraction. It is caused by the special grace of the personality of Godhead or the special grace of a great devotee like Narada.
Yes.
There is a statement in the Skanda Puran wherein Parvat Muni tells Narada, my dear Narada, all saintly persons, you are so great and glorious that simply by our good wishes, a low-born hunter also has become a great elevated devotee of Lord Krishna.
Who's that? Mrigari. So again, Mrigari is an example of causeless mercy of Narada. Otherwise, what was the situation? From that situation, so elevated within no time. So that's an example of causeless mercy. So, of course, these are all very elevated personalities. Narada is, all the examples are basically Narada only. So Narada is especially empowered. And so therefore, he brings people from such a low platform to such a high platform immediately. Of course, the words come when there are good wishes. They are related, but that is how it manifested. In this case, it manifested in words directly. They're good wishes. Of course, good wishes also manifest in words. There's some difference. Okay, fine. So that's how one comes to the state of bhava. Okay, chapter 18. Character of one in ecstatic love. Okay, read.
Character of Rupa Goswami next describes the characteristics of a person who has actually developed his ecstatic love for Krishna. The characteristics are as follows.
Okay, fine. So we will read them. Go ahead. Okay, so these are called as reliable symptoms of bhava bhakti. One can neither imitate nor conceal these symptoms. One can neither imitate nor conceal these symptoms, at least not for too long. So, as we read that on the stage of bhava, because of the effect of Shuddha Sattva, then there is softening of the heart, and because of the softening of the heart, there are what? Yes, spiritual emotions. And because of the spiritual emotions, there is shedding of tears, shivering, perspiration, all that is there. So now, as we know, the Sahajiyas, they try to imitate for cheap adoration, getting popularity, so that they imitate. In one lecture, as well as Loknath Maharaj said that he saw one such Sahajiya or someone in Vrindavan, he had put chilies to induce tears. Really? It's a fact. Acha. Oh, this is Prabhupada's time. So yes, these things do happen. People are so addicted to, it's another type of addiction, right? Popularity. Popularity is subtle platform, it's a very strong addiction. Even more than gross addiction is subtle addiction. So people do all these funny things. You know that pastime in Vrindavan, no? There was one man who was making a big show of tears and rolling and this and that and causing a disturbance. And so our devotees were a little bewildered because they didn't have experience. Newly they came to Vrindavan, and so Prabhupada was over there. So they asked Prabhupada, so there's this person creating disturbance, what should we do? Prabhupada said, kick him hard, kick him. So if he's actually on a very high elevated platform, he will simply tolerate. If he is simply making a show, he will run away. And that's what happened. They kicked him and he ran away. Huh? Kya? Yes, obviously. He became angry and he ran away. So, many people try to make a show, especially the Sahajiyas. They want cheap popularity. So therefore, Rupa Goswami says, those are not reliable symptoms. Whether tears come or not, those are not reliable symptoms. But these 9 are reliable symptoms. So even if one tries to imitate, how long one can imitate? One will not be able to imitate for long. So therefore, he calls these as reliable symptoms. Okay, let us go through each one of them. First one is, read. Avyartha kalatvam.
Avyartha kalatvam, never wasting time, but always engaged in devotional service.
Now read from the book.
Next chapter.
Utilization of time.
An unalloyed devotee who has developed ecstatic love for Krishna is always engaging his words in reciting prayers to the Lord. Within the mind, he is always thinking of Krishna, and with his body, he either offers obeisances by bowing down before the deity or engages in some other service. During these ecstatic activities, he sometimes shed tears. In this way, his whole life is engaged in service of the Lord with not a moment wasted on any other engagement.
Okay, so this is Avyartha kalatvam, not wasting a single moment in anything else. Of course, for each of these, we can have pastimes from Srila Prabhupada's life. You can meditate on that. From Prabhupada's life, for each of these, you can get pastimes. Okay, next. Pass the mic, one devotee can read one. अरे पढ़ो, सबको पढ़ना है. First read from here. Second, first read from here, then read from the book.
Shanti, to remain tolerant and patient even amid great disturbance.
Yeah, so this is not Shanti, not that. Of course, it's related to Shanti. If this quality is there, one will be Shanta. But basically, it indicates tolerance, even amid great disturbance. Now we read from the book Perseverance.
When a person is undisturbed, even in presence of various causes of disturbance, he is called reserved and perseverant. An example of this perseverance and reservation is found in the behavior of King Parikshit, as described in 1st Canto, 9th chapter, verse number 15 of Srimad Bhagavatam. King says there to all the sages present before him at the time of death, "My dear Brahmanas, you should always accept me as your surrendered servant. I have come to the bank of Ganges just to devote my heart and soul unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So please bless me, that Mother Ganges may also be pleased with me. Let the curse of Brahmana's son fall upon me. I do not mind. I only request that at the last moment of my life, all of you will kindly chant the holy name of Vishnu, so that I may realize his transcendental qualities." This example of Maharaj Parikshit's behavior, his remaining patient even at the last point of his life, his undisturbed condition of mind, is an example of reservation. This is one of the characteristics of devotee who has developed ecstatic love for Krishna.
Right, so the definition is what? Undisturbed even in the presence of various causes of disturbance. When there's no cause for disturbance, if one is tolerant, then there's no, what is there to tolerate if there's no disturbance? So even when there's lot of disturbance, one is tolerant. So this is the example of Parikshit Maharaj. Any other examples? Yes, Ambarish Maharaj. Lord Shiva when? Okay, Daksha, he just left.
Chitraketu Maharaj
Kaun? Chitraketu Maharaj when?
was cursed to become a
Okay, he was cursed by Parvati, yes.
Ranti Dev.
Ranti Dev. Narad Muni when Daksha cursed him. Avanti Brahman, Haridas Thakur, Prahlad Maharaj. So many examples are there, okay, for this quality of Kshanti. Okay, third.
Virakti, indifference to the object of sense gratification. Detachment. The senses are always desiring sense enjoyment, but when the devotee develops transcendental love for Krishna, his senses are no longer attracted by the material desires. This state of mind is called detachment. There is a nice example of this detachment in the connection with the character of the King Bharat. In the 5th canto, 14th chapter, verse 43 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated, Emperor Bharat was so attracted by the beauty of the lotus feet of Krishna that even in his youthful life he gave up all kind of attachment to the family, children, friends, kingdom, etc., as though they were untouchable stool. Empire Bharat provided typical examples of the detachment. He had everything enjoyable in the material world, but he left it. This means that a detachment does not mean artificially keeping oneself aloof and apart from the allurement of attachment. Even the presence of such allurement, if one can remain unattracted by the material attachment, he is called detached. In the beginning, of course, a neophyte devotee must try to keep himself apart from all kind of alluring attachment, but the real position of the mature devotee is that even in the presence of all allurement, he is not at all attracted. This is the actual criteria.
Criterion of detachment. Okay, so nice definition of detachment Prabhupada is giving. Even in the presence of such allurements, if one can remain unattracted by material attachments, he is called detached. Even in the presence of allurements. So, therefore, the example of Bharat Maharaj is being given. So, Bharat Maharaj had everything, but still he left it. Any other examples? Haridas Thakur? No, Haridas Thakur, he didn't have anything. Huh? Yes, all these Goswamis, Raghunath Das Goswami, Rup Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, all of them, they were so rich, Mandalapatis, but still they gave up, totally detached. We also have the example of, yes, Ambarish Maharaj also is a good example, he had everything. Huh? Pandavas, yes, Bhishma, Pundrik Vidyanidhi, Kaun? Pritham Maharaj, of course, is Shaktivesh Avatar. But yes, but we have all these examples of great personalities who, in spite of having all the sources of allurements, they were still detached. Yes, Ramananda Rai, yes. Yes, Pandavas. Okay, so this is detachment. When Srila Prabhupada went to Paris, France, so Paris is known for very beautiful women. And so they were invited to some program in some very big hall, auditorium, and when they entered that hall, then all around there were photos of beautiful ladies. And all these brahmacharis and sannyasis, they covered their heads and put their head down. And Srila Prabhupada, no difference at all. Prabhupada was just looking at Of course, Prabhupada had everything. He had so much of wealth, and some of his disciples were actually some of the most beautiful ladies, actually. In the prime of their youth, some of the ladies. Miss Universe. But this Burjan Prabhu's wife, what's her name? Jagadanin Ma. She was an actress, right? Yes, she was. That's who donated for the. Yes, she donated for this Detroit, right? Fisher Mansion. That was sponsored by both of them, this Mataji and Ambarish Prabhu. Yes, so Srila Prabhupada had everything. Krishna gave him everything, but his life remained the same, even though he had everything. Okay, next. Mana Shunyata, pridelessness. Okay, read from the book.
Pridelessness. When a devotee, in spite of possessing all the qualities of pure realization, is not proud of his position, he is called prideless. In the Padma Purana, it is stated that King Bhagiratha was the emperor above all other kings. Yet he developed such a ecstatic love for Krishna that he became a mendicant and went out begging, even to the homes of his political enemies and untouchables. He was so humble that he respectfully bowed down before them. There are many similar instances in the history of India. Even very recently, about 200 years ago or less than, one big landlord known as Lal Babu, a Calcutta landholder, became a Vaishnava and lived in Vrindavan. He was also begging from door to door, even at the homes of his political enemies. Begging involves being ready to be insulted by person to whose home one has come. That is natural. But one has to tolerate such insults for the sake of Krishna. The devotee of Krishna can accept any position in the service of Krishna.
So again, a beautiful definition of pridelessness. When a devotee, in spite of possessing all the qualities of pure realization, is not proud of his position, he is called prideless. So in spite of having all reasons to become proud, still he does not become proud. Then that's prideless. So let's give one example of this King Bhagiratha, and there's Lala Babu. How many of you have seen this drama of Lala Babu? You have seen? Chaupadi drama.
The drama name is Akrita Droha.
Yes, correct. That is the, yes, Akrita Droha. It's one of the 26 qualities of Vaishnava. Akrita Droha. So you can see this drama, very beautiful drama. Very nice. Hmm. Huh? Ah, yes, yes. Yes, he is one of the Vaishnavas who was. So you remember how he became a devotee? Give him the mic.
This he was in Bengal, so the sun was setting, and that Matajis they were bringing.
So he was a huge, he was landlord, huge acres of land. Hmm.
And these Matajis they were bringing water from the well. So one senior Mataji was telling the younger Mataji, "Abhi time ho gaya hai." So he heard that phrase only. So although it was not in that connection, but this phrase struck him. And then he left everything. अभी उसको लगा कि मेरा भी time हो गया है, तो he left everything and he comes to Vrindavan.
So yes, so these, they were village girls. The village girls, they were drawing water from the well, and they had to bring the cows back. So therefore, they were busy, they were talking, this, that, and they were busy. And then all of a sudden they saw the sun setting, and one of the girls, small girl, she says, "Getting late, it's getting late." So as soon as he hears that it's getting late, that was sufficient to light a light within his heart. So that is how, these are triggering factors. Just like we all know the famous story of Bilumangal Thakur. How Bilumangal Thakur, just by hearing the words of Chintamani, his entire life changed. So similarly, just by hearing those words, then something struck. So this is Paramatma's inspiration because of...
It is due to some past, they had some...
Yes, definitely. So this is because of past Sukruti, as we're discussing. So they have sufficient Ajnat Sukruti, now it has become mature. So when it becomes mature, then some triggering factor, small triggering factor is sufficient. Then immediately the attraction is aroused because it is mature now. Ajnat Sukruti is mature. So some small triggering factor and immediately the attraction to the Lord takes place. And so as soon as he heard that statement, he sent his servant back to inform his young wife and old mother that he is leaving. And that servant is heartbroken. He's saying, "How can you leave?" Actually, they were touring just to see if they can take more land. He was making plans for taking more land. And now, all of a sudden, left everything. The servant was shocked. And then he went back home to tell this, and obviously, what must be the condition of his wife and mother? No. But he left. He left, he goes to Vrindavan, and then what happens?
Then he is asked to beg from those people whom earlier, like he was like in charge of those people. And now
Right,
he
so
is
basically he meets one spiritual master, and then that spiritual master initially rejects him. He says, "Oh, you're from such a wealthy family, I cannot take you as a disciple." He refuses. And so after pleading and pleading so much, then he agrees, and then he tells him, "You have to go and beg. And beg even from your previous enemies." So there was one
There's one landlord who had a fight with him earlier. So, and he is asked to beg from that. So first he denied, I cannot beg from it.
Yes.
So then, as his Sukriti was enough, he
The
convinced.
Guru said, no, you have to. And then?
So he goes and begs, but internally he is having still that grudge. But because the Guru has told, he goes and begs. And then when he comes with that alms, then Guru gives him Diksha that now you are perfect. Now you have overpowered your.
Yeah, so that is what Prabhupada is writing here. So he was also begging from door to door, even at the homes of his political enemies. That's what he was. And of course, that enemy, his heart melted seeing this person coming to beg from him. So anyway, and the story of course goes on, how he becomes a great devotee, and then?
When many people come and give donations to him, and that's how he constructs that temple in Vrindavan, that Lal Babu temple which is there.
And there's one pastime which took place. So anyway, so that's the most touching part of the story actually. So so this temple of Radha Krishna is there, whom he would serve, and he had no residence to stay actually. He had no residence. So he would just stay under some trees or something like that. And the pujari of the temple would go and give him a plate of Mahaprasad. The pujari would go and give a plate to Lala Babu. So then one day what happened? It was raining. So it was raining, and so this pujari who was supposed to go and give him prasad, he thinks it's raining, how can I go? So the pujari does not go. And then, as far as Lala Babu is concerned, he is thinking, oh, it's raining today, most probably the pujari will not come. And then all of a sudden the pujari came running and gave him the plate of prasad, and he ran back. And then when so Lala Babu, he has the prasad, everything, and in the meantime, the pujari there in the temple, he has to make the next offering. So when he goes to make the next offering, the plate is missing. So he's wondering, where is the plate? So then he goes to the house of Lala Babu, and then he sees the plate over there. And then that pujari he's in ecstasy, seeing that how the Lord had personally come to give that plate of prasadam. And not only that, the Lord's cloth also was wet from the rain. So that is how he became such a great devotee, that even the Lord was reciprocating with him. So it was a beautiful drama they did. So this is the example of pridelessness. Which other examples of pridelessness? Yes, Yudhishthira Maharaj, definitely yes. In spite of having all opulences, everything, but still he was so humble.
Prahlad Maharaj.
All the Goswamis, of course. Yes, King Pratap Rudra, yes. King Pratap Rudra also, he was a great king, but exhibited so much of humility, yes. Parikshit Maharaj. Yes, so all these great personalities are there. Okay, next. Asha Bandha, read.
Asha Bandha. A firm faith that Krishna will deliver one to the highest perfection, even though one feels low and utterly unqualified to achieve it on his own. Great hope. The strong conviction that one will certainly receive the favor of Supreme Personality of Godhead is called in a Sanskrit Asha Bandha. Asha Bandha means to continue to think, because I am trying my best to follow the routine principles of devotional service. I am sure that I will go back to Godhead, back to home. In this connection, one prayer by Rupa Goswami is sufficient to exemplify this hopefulness. He says, I have no love for Krishna nor for the causes of developing love of Krishna, namely hearing and chanting, and the process of bhakti yoga by which one is always thinking of Krishna and fixing his lotus feet in the heart is also lacking in me. As far as philosophical knowledge of pious works are concerned, I don't see any opportunity for me to execute such activities. But above all, I am not even born of a nice family. Therefore, I must simply pray to you, Gopijana Vallabha, Krishna maintainer and beloved of gopis. I simply wish and hope that some way or other I may be able to approach your lotus feet. And this hope is giving me pain because I think myself quite incompetent to approach that transcendental goal of life. The purport is that under this heading of Asha Bandha, one should continue to hope against hope that some way or other he will be able to approach the lotus feet of Supreme Lord.
So this is Asha Bandha. You can see Rupa Goswami's extreme humility. So Rupa Goswami is saying, I have no love for Krishna, nor for the cause of developing love for Krishna. Now, what is our position then? If Rupa Goswami is saying this. So he's saying, he has written this Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, and he's saying, as far as philosophical knowledge or pious work is concerned, I don't see any opportunity for me to execute such activities. Not even born of nice family. Therefore, I must simply pray to you, Gopijana Vallabh, some way or other, I may be able to approach your lotus feet. And this hope is giving me pain because I think myself incompetent. So he's thinking himself incompetent, but still the hope is there. That is Asha Bandha. So the devotee thinks himself incompetent, incapable, unqualified, but still the hope is there. So just like Prahlad Maharaj, as soon as Prahlad Maharaj begins offering his prayers, the 8th verse, right? 7th canto, 9th chapter, 8th verse, where Prahlad Maharaj is saying, I am Ugrajate, I am born in a demoniac family. How can I offer wonderful prayers like the Devatas who are filled with Sattvagun? But then in the next verse he says, but still I'll offer prayers for my own purification. So this is the meaning of Asha Bandha. Or just like Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada also in the Markandeya Bhagavad Dharma, what he writes? He says, I've got this title Bhakti Vedanta, but no bhakti, no knowledge of Vedas, nothing. But still I have hope. On what basis? On what basis Prabhupada had the hope?
Faith in the holy name.
Yes, basically faith in the holy name. He had faith in the holy name. And because of that faith, he still has hope. And therefore, he has hope that Krishna will give him the words by which the people's hearts will be transformed. That is his hope. And therefore, we find even after Srila Prabhupada, he came to America, and for 1 year, there was not much success. And at that time, regularly, he would go to the Scindia steamship company to find out when is the return ship. And he would find out and still continue. And then the officer would ask, Swamiji, you come and ask every time, when is the return ship to India, but you never go. And so Srila Prabhupada said, yes, when I'm a little frustrated, I come to find out. But then I think, I have the instruction of my spiritual master, so I must fulfill that instruction. So that is Asha Bandha. So even there's some frustration, some hopelessness, but still the hope is there. No. Krishna will help, spiritual master will help. So he continues. So this is called as Asha Bandha. The devotee never loses hope on Krishna's mercy, Guru's mercy. The hope is not on his own efforts. The hope is on Krishna, Guru and Krishna's mercy. That is the hope for the devotee. That is what keeps the devotee going on in his practice of devotional service. Because if a devotee gives up that hope, then he is indirectly saying that even Krishna's mercy cannot work. Is that possible? That means what? If he gives up on Krishna's mercy, what does it mean? He does not have faith in Krishna's mercy. So devotee never gives up that faith. The devotee always has faith, even though I am so unqualified, so fallen, everything is there, everything unqualified. But still, Krishna's mercy is there. Krishna is Deenabandhu. He is the friend of the fallen. So therefore he will help. That is how the devotee maintains his hope. Asha Bandha. Next.
Samutkantha, eagerness for achieving pure loving service. When one is sufficiently eager to achieve success in devotional service, that eagerness is called Samutkantha. This means complete eagerness. Actually, this eagerness is the price for achieving success in Krishna consciousness. Everything has some value, and one has to pay the value before obtaining or possessing it. It is stated in the Vedic literature that to purchase the most valuable thing, Krishna consciousness, one has to develop intense eagerness for achieving success. This intense eagerness is very nicely expressed by Bilamangal Thakur in his book Krishna Karnamrit. He says, I am eagerly waiting to see that boy of Vrindavan, whose bodily beauty is captivating the whole universe, whose eyes are always bounded by black eyebrows and expanded like lotus petals, and who is always eagerly glancing over his devotees and therefore moving slightly here and there. His eyes are always moist, his lips are colored like copper, and through those lips there comes a sound vibration which drives one madder than a mad elephant. I want so much to see him at Vrindavan.
So we discussed this point, laulyam. So one should have this samutkanta, intense eagerness, laulyam. So this is what is required. Okay, next.
Nam Gane Sadaruchi, constant attraction to chanting Hare Krishna. Attachment to chanting the holy names of the Lord. In the same Krishna Karnamrit, there is another statement about the chanting of Radharani. It is said by one of the associates of Radharani, O Lord Govinda, the girl who is the daughter of King Vrishabhanu is now shedding tears, and she is anxiously chanting your holy name, Krishna, Krishna.
So the example of Radharani who is chanting Krishna's name in separation. There's a pastime of Srila Prabhupada. So once Srila Prabhupada, the devotees took Srila Prabhupada to one recording studio to record some bhajans or something. So the recording studio, so they were making all arrangements for the recording. And so for the recording to go nicely, there should be no disturbance, correct? And so the technicians were making sure that there is no other disturbance, no other sound. But they were hearing some disturbance, some sound they were hearing. And so they were searching everywhere. Where is this sound coming? Some soft disturbing sound is coming. So they began to search throughout the room, where it is coming. And as they were searching, then finally that technician, he came close to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada was softly chanting. Here is a disturbance. So Prabhupada was softly chanting. So that is how Srila Prabhupada was always chanting the holy names. And of course we know the famous pastime during his sannyas diksha, how Krishna's Babaji Maharaj was chanting Harinam, and then the priest told him to reduce the sounds, and they were chanting so many other Vedic mantras and all that. And Prabhupada told Krishna's Babaji Maharaj to increase the sound of the chanting. And then Krishna's Babaji Maharaj commented that this person, he will spread the holy name all over the world because he has so much faith in the holy name. So that time itself he prayed it. Okay, next.
Asakti tad gunan
Gunakhyani, asakti-stad gunakhyani.
Addiction to glorifying Krishna's quality.
Eagerness to describe.
Eagerness to describe the Lord's transcendental qualities. Attachment for chanting the glories of Lord is also expressed in Krishna Karnamrit as follows. What shall I do for Krishna, who is pleasing beyond all pleasurable conceptions and who is naughtier than all restless boys? The idea of Krishna's beautiful activity is attracting my heart, and now I do not know what I can do.
Yes. So this is an example. But again, we can see from Srila Prabhupada's life how he was always so eager to glorify Krishna. We all know the famous Krishna book reading on the Janmashtami nights. Yes. Next chapter, next chapter, next chapter. Though everyone was feeling so tired and sleepy, but still Prabhupada was eagerly hearing the glories of Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna. And of course, every day, in fact, when Prabhupada was in Los Angeles, then every day in the evening, he would go and sit in the garden, special garden. Prabhupada said that the garden was as good as Vrindavan because it's filled with tulsi trees. And so Prabhupada would sit there and some devotees would come and then some devotee would read Prabhupada, the Krishna book. So that's how Srila Prabhupada, and of course Srila Prabhupada read his own books. That's how Srila Prabhupada was so eager to hear, to read about Krishna. Okay, and the last one?
Pritistad vasati stale, attachment for living in the Dhama. Attraction for living in a place where Krishna has his pastimes. In the book Padyavali by Rupa Goswami, there is the following statement about Vrindavan. In this place, the son of Maharaj Nanda used to live with his father, who was the king of all cowherd men. In this place, Lord Krishna broke the cart in which the Sakatasura demon was concealed. At this place, Damodar, who can cut the knot of our material existence, was tied up by his mother Yasoda. A pure devotee of Lord Krishna resides in the district of Mathura or Vrindavan and visits all the places where Krishna's pastimes were performed. At these sacred places, Krishna displayed his childhood activities with the cowherd boys and Mother Yasoda. The system of circumambulating all these places is still current among devotees of Lord Krishna, and those coming to Mathura and Vrindavan always feel transcendental pleasure. Actually, if someone goes to Vrindavana, he will immediately feel separation from Krishna, who performed such nice activities when he was present there.
Yes. So a devotee is always attracted to go to these places where Krishna performed his pastimes. So these are 9 symptoms of a devotee on the advanced stage of bhava, and as we said, no one can conceal them and no one can imitate them. So therefore these are called as reliable symptoms of bhava bhakti. Your question?
So, like Asha Bandha, continue to think because I am trying my best to follow the routine work.
Where is it?
Great hope.
Asha Bandha.
Because I am trying my best to follow the routine principle of devotional service, I am sure I will go back to Godhead. So, in our stage, should we think like that? I am trying my best, and then Krishna will.
Because I'm trying my best to follow the routine principles of devotional service, I'm sure that I'll go back to Godhead, back to home. Yes, one can always think like that. When is not mentioned.
So that Krishna will say. So, best.
But the point is, one should have faith in the process. That is the point. One should have faith in the process, that the process will definitely work. It is perfect. I don't have to do anything else. I don't have to go anywhere else. Full faith in the process. That is the point. So yes, if I follow this process given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada, definitely the success is sure. It may be this lifetime, some other lifetime, it doesn't matter. My business is to continue to serve, that's all. That is Asha Bandha. So the devotee never thinks that I am qualified to go back in this lifetime itself. That is not mentioned, no? That is not mentioned. So devotee does not think I am so qualified that I will go back in this lifetime on. Whenever Krishna wants, he is ready to wait, but he knows that the process is perfect. Okay? Okay, fine. Hare Krishna. So we'll take a break and then continue. Hare Krishna.
Only one question. Okay.
Hare Krishna. So Radha Vallabhprabhu, what was the question?
Hare Krishna. If some devotee is having maybe not all the qualities, but maybe few of them, so then how we should see it? We should see it like he's like on.
So that's what, it won't happen that, okay, today he didn't have any of these qualities and tomorrow all of a sudden in the morning he woke up and found all the 9 qualities.
Yes.
It's not going to happen that way. So obviously things are gradual. He may develop some qualities first, in small proportion, then gradually it increases. It's all gradual, no? So that's true. So it won't be that one day all of a sudden all the 9 will be present. But if somebody is at least trying to develop them, then one should understand that he is sincerely trying to progress. Okay, any other question on these qualities? Akrur?
Understand whether these qualities manifest from the very beginning stage, little by little, or it's 100% manifest at the bhava stage only. Or it's to some extent it is also present in the Vedic
Yes,
sadhana.
so to some extent they will definitely be present as one is practicing devotional service. But at the stage of bhava, then definitely all of them will be present in full-blown presentation of these qualities. So when the bhava is fully manifested, when one is actually on the bhava stage, manifestation of Shuddha Sattva, then all these stages will definitely be present in completeness. And before that, gradually they'll develop. क्या है?
Guruji, just like in our this journey, current life, we are going, so still we are not on that plane of Krishna's love. But from the knowledge we understood that in this material world there is nothing we want. But at the same time, there is some little bit again, there is some anarthas, or we have not become so much pure that our love, we will feel all that security, all that affection from Krishna directly. And many other like this, our emotions are there, many other things. But we know that in this material world we will not get. If we get, then it's a frustration and there is a problem. And that Krishna is also a little bit far. So now, going in this journey.
Beach mein abhi, beach mein.
So there will be need also, because we cannot say that, because everybody wants that he should get love and to be loved and so much security and many things. He is not able to feel with Krishna at this stage, but he cannot take shelter of any material thing also. So he is in little bit gadbad. So how he can feel that with at current stage, present stage with Krishna, all that thing.
So therefore, at our stage, we have to take shelter of Krishna's devotees. So so yes, your point is perfect. So we in our present stage, we cannot directly experience Krishna's love, Krishna's shelter. We cannot experience that. That's correct. Because we have not developed that stage of loving feelings and reciprocations towards Krishna. And so therefore, the devotees as representatives of Krishna are supposed to help the other devotees by giving that shelter and security and help, whatever is required. So that is why the Shastras are again and again giving emphasis on taking shelter of Krishna's devotee. And as we were discussing, that is an eternal principle, that one always has to take shelter of the devotees. That is always there. Of course, as one makes progress, then one can directly experience Krishna's love, Krishna's reciprocation, and then one feels total satisfaction in that. But even at that platform, it does not mean that the devotee does not take association of other devotees or shelter of other. That is always there. The principle of das, anudas is always there. At the same time, at our stage, then it becomes all the more necessary to take shelter of devotees.
When we take shelter of a devotee, then the devotee will guide that pray to Krishna and all.
That is always
go.
there.
So he is also telling towards Krishna only. But
Yes, ultimately our shelter is Krishna, but then to get that guidance, so if we have some problem, if we have some difficulty, we can pray to Krishna, but is Krishna going to speak to you directly? I don't know if he speaks, I don't know about you. At least he doesn't speak to me, that much I know. So who's going to give the guidance then when there's difficulty? Devotees only have to give, na? So, yes, we can pray to Krishna, that is fine. But ultimately we require some practical guidance. Who's going to give? Devotee only has to give. So that is why Srila Prabhupada also emphasized so many places, remain in the association of devotees, take guidance from devotees. That's our only shelter. ठीक है ना? Okay, let's proceed now. So now, okay, continue reading. Such attraction for remembering Krishna's activities is known as attachment for Krishna. कौन पढ़ रहा है?
Such attraction for remembering Krishna's activities is known as attachment for Krishna. There are impersonalist philosophers and mystics, however, who by a show of devotional service want ultimately to merge into the existence of the Supreme Lord. They sometimes try to imitate a pure devotee's sentiment for visiting the holy places of Krishna, where Krishna had his pastimes, but they simply have a view of salvation, and so their activities cannot be considered attachment.
Okay, so the Mayavadis also make a show of attachment. We were discussing this point. What example? Who's that person who showed attachment? Mayavadi?
With Raghunath Bhatta Goswami.
Raghunath Bhatta Goswami and?
Ramdas.
Okay, Ramdas Vishwas. So he also showed so much of attachment, chanting the holy names, all that he showed. But what was the goal? Yes, so that's what Prabhupada is writing. They sometimes try to imitate a pure devotee's sentiment for visiting the holy places where Krishna had his pastimes, but they simply have a view for salvation, that is mukti. And so their activities cannot be considered attachment. So the attachment is simply superficial. It's still selfish. Okay, go ahead.
It is said by Rupa Goswami that the attachment exhibited by pure devotees for Krishna cannot possibly be perfected in the hearts of fruitive workers or mental speculators, because such attachment in pure Krishna consciousness is very rare and not possible to achieve even for many liberated persons. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, liberation from material contamination is the stage at which devotional service can be achieved.
Verse?
Brahmamuta prasannatma nashochisthya. For a person who simply wants to have liberation and to merge into the impersonal Brahmajyoti, attachment to Krishna is not possible to acquire. This attachment is very confidentially kept by Krishna and is bestowed only upon pure devotees. Even ordinary devotees cannot have such pure attachment for Krishna.
Yes, even ordinary devotees cannot have such pure attachment for Krishna. This attachment is very confidentially kept by Krishna and is bestowed only upon pure devotees. So we discussed this point. That's why Bhava Bhakti is
very rare.
Sudurlabha, extremely rare, because Krishna keeps it very confidentially. Only to one who is qualified he bestows. So therefore even ordinary devotees cannot have it. No. Continue.
Even ordinary devotees cannot have such pure attachment for Krishna. Therefore, how is it possible for success to be achieved by persons whose hearts are contaminated by actions and reactions of fruitive activities and who are entangled by various types of mental speculation.
Okay, so if even ordinary devotees cannot get Bhava Bhakti and Prem Bhakti, then what to speak of karmis, jnanis, yogis who don't have any attachment to Krishna? There's no question.
There are many so-called devotees who artificially think of Krishna's pastimes known as Ashtakalika Leela. Sometimes one may artificially imitate these, pretending that Krishna is talking with him in the form of a boy, or else one may pretend that Radha and Krishna both have come to him and they are talking to him. Such characteristics are sometimes exhibited by impersonalist class of men, and they may captivate some innocent persons who have no knowledge in the science of devotional service. However, as soon as an experienced devotee sees all these caricatures, he can immediately evaluate such rascaldom. If such a pretender is sometimes seen possessing imitative attachment to Krishna, that will not be accepted as real attachment. It may be said, however, that such attachment gives the pretender hope that he may eventually rise onto the actual platform of pure devotional service.
Okay, so this is all imitative. Simply imagining that Krishna is talking, Radharani is talking. So all this imagination. So this is of course, this is systematic meditation, Ashtakalika Leela. Throughout the day, Krishna has different pastimes at different times of the day, and the devotee also may meditate on this pastime, that pastime. So one cannot do all these things artificially, one has to be qualified. Otherwise, as we were discussing the other day, even if one tries to meditate, if one is not qualified, what will happen? Yes, the mind will go somewhere else in the course of the meditation. When the mind will go also, one will not even understand when it will go. We have experience doing chanting, no? We are trying to chant, focus, and when the mind goes, we don't even understand when it goes. After a few minutes, we realize, where the mind has gone. Sometimes mind goes into Bal Leela or some other thing. Swa Bal Leela. So many things. And one does not even understand. So therefore in Kali Yuga, all this meditation and all that is very difficult. Therefore, Mahaprabhu has said, chant the holy names. Okay, now show here. So, Prabhupada is writing here, imitative attachment can divide in two headings. Shadow attachment and para attachment. Okay. So, that is what he is describing here. So, this is what is called as Rati Abhas. So, Rati means bhava. Abhas means it looks like abhas. It's not the real thing, but it looks like. Somewhat it looks. It's not absent also, but it's not full blown also. So it's looking like bhava. That means rati abhas. Okay, read from.
When neophyte or non-devotees display emotions that resemble the symptoms of bhava, it is known as rati abhas.
Okay, so they display emotions that resemble the symptoms of bhava. They're not actually bhava, but it looks like bhava.
A mere reflection of bhava. There are two types of pratyabhasa, pratibimba, reflective, and chaya, shadow. Reflective attachment, pratibimba. Someone may execute devotional service with an ulterior motive for fruitive gain or liberation. In this case, although the motive is corrupt, the practice is usually quite intense. While performing devotional activities in the association of advanced devotees, such a person may experience symptoms that resemble ecstasy because the genuine ecstasy of advanced devotees are reflecting upon the mirror of his heart.
Okay, so this is, so someone is practicing devotional service, but they also have ulterior motives. So one is practicing devotional service quite intensely, but the motive is something ulterior, to gain something material. And so because their devotional practices are intense, therefore when they come in contact with some advanced devotees, then the devotion of the advanced devotee reflects on the mirror of their hearts. So that means they also become influenced by that devotion of the advanced devotees. And then for a few seconds or something like that, they may also experience some symptoms of bhava. So when one hears some very wonderful kirtan or something like that, some few tears may drop from the eyes, or the hair may stand on end for maybe half a second or 1 second, something like that. I'm sure all of us have some experiences like that, correct? Huh? Ah. So sometimes one may have such experiences. Why? Because of the association. Because of the association, then the devotion of the advanced devotees reflects on the heart of these devotees, and they may have some experience. This is not real bhava. This is not real bhava. So this is only because of the association. It's pratibimba. Okay, next.
Shadow attachment, chaya rati avasa. Sometimes a person may execute devotional service out of social convention or vague curiosity. Compared to reflective attachment, this devotional service is less intense, but the motive is not nearly as corrupt. Such people may exhibit a slight resemblance of ecstatic symptoms, especially when they join kirtana, attend big festivals, visit the holy dham, or get the occasional association of saintly devotees. The previous type of Rati Abhasa, Pratibimba, more intensely reflects Bhava. It is like an image reflected in a mirror. However, in Chaya Rati Abhasa, the symptoms are not as clearly reflected. It is more like a shadow cast on the ground. There is only a vague semblance to the original object. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada translates Chaya Rati Abhasa as shadow attachment and Pratibimba Rati Abhasa as reflective attachment. Srila Prabhupada describes shadow attachment chaya as para-transcendental. Even though it is less intense, shadow attachment chaya is better than reflective attachment pratibimba because there is less ulterior motive.
Okay, so in the case of Chaya, the Chaya Rati Abhas, there is not much devotional service. So the person is just practicing some devotional service, maybe out of curiosity or just beginning or something like that. But he doesn't have any ulterior motive. And so that is also, and so even that person, when he comes in association with advanced devotees, then he may also have some effects. So both the cases, basically, it is due to association. It is due to association. So in both cases, there is some devotional activity, and by the association of advanced devotees, then one experiences some symptoms of bhava. That is what is called as rati abhas. Okay, next. Okay.
Transforming Rati Abhasa into genuine Bhava. In other words, the only way that one can transform his imitative emotions into genuine Bhava is by receiving the mercy of a pure devotee. This mercy is attained by service and blocked by offenses. If someone offends a devotee, whatever attachment he has achieved, real or imagined, will wane away to nothing.
Yes. So to increase the bhava, one has to continue the association. And if one commits offenses, then whatever bhava is there, that also will disappear. Okay. So Prabhupada explained the same things. So Prabhupada is writing here, transit attachment, either shadow or para, can be nullified by different degrees of offenses at the lotus feet of pure devotees. If the offense is very serious, then one's attachment becomes almost nil. And if the offense is not very serious, one's attachment can become second class or third class. And also, if someone becomes attached to the principles of salvation or to merging into the existence of the Brahma Jyotis, ecstasy is gradually diminished into shadow and para attachment, or else transform into the principles of ahangaropasana. This ahangaropasana describes a living entity when he begins spiritual realization by identifying himself with the Supreme Lord. This state of self-realization is technically known as monism. The monist thinks himself one with the Supreme Lord. Thus, because he does not differentiate between himself and the Supreme Lord, it is his view that by worshipping himself, he is worshipping the Supreme Whole. So this is basically the Mayavadis. So I am Narayan, you are Narayan, so worship oneself. So the same point Prabhupada is describing. So he says a neophyte is chanting and dancing very enthusiastically, but within himself he is under the impression that he has become one with the Supreme Whole. If, however, it is seen that a person has developed a high standard of devotion without having undergone even the regulative principles, it is to be understood that his status of devotional service was achieved in a former life. For some reason or another, it had been temporarily stopped, most probably by an offense committed at the lotus feet of a devotee. Now, with a good second chance, it has again begun to develop. The conclusion is that steady progress in devotional service can be attained only in the association of pure devotees. Okay, read the next two paragraphs.
If one can gradually advance his status in devotional service, this is understood to be due to the causeless mercy of Krishna himself. If a person is completely detached from material enjoyment and has developed pure ecstatic devotion, even if he is sometimes accidentally found not living up to the standard of devotional service, one should not be envious of him. It is confirmed also in Bhagavad Gita that a devotee who has unflinching faith in and devotion to the Lord, even if sometimes found to be accidentally deviated from the pure devotional characteristics, should still be counted among the pure.
Verse?
Apiche suduracharo
bhajate mamanyabhava.
Sadhurev. Unflinching faith in devotional service in Lord Krishna and in the spiritual master makes one highly elevated in the activities of devotional service. In the Narsingha Puran it is stated, if a person has completely engaged his mind, body and activities in the service of the Supreme Godhead, but externally he is found to be engaged in some abominable activities, these abominable activities will surely be very quickly vanquished by the influence of its staunch devotional force. The example is given that on the full moon there are some spots which may appear to be pockmarks. Still, the illumination spread by the full moon cannot be checked. Similarly, a little fault in the midst of volumes of devotional service is not at all be counted as a fault. Attachment for Krishna is transcendental bliss. Amid unlimited volumes of transcendental bliss, a spot of some material defect cannot act in any way.
Yes. Fine, so that's the end of Bhava. Next. Okay, so we're going to Prema. Chapter 19, Devotional Service in Pure Love.
Then Prabhupada told that first
you repeat.
In the time of Prabhupada, one devotee was saying that I am not feeling like bowing down to you. Then Prabhupada told that you bow down, then you feel like bowing down. But in the case of this one, it is something different. It is written, it may be said, however, that such attachment gives the pretender hope that he may eventually rise into the actual platform of pure devotional service. So how it is?
So see, he is pretender. That means he is not having genuine bhava, correct? But by the association of devotees or an advanced devotee, he is experiencing some symptoms of bhava. That means what? That means there is a possibility that he can actually come to the real bhava.
But in the case of Sahaja, they are doing the things, they are taking the things very cheaply.
Yes,
and they think that
but
they will achieve the stage.
Yes, but even those Sahajiyas, if they associate with genuine devotees and follow all the rules and regulations, they can also come to the stage of actual bhava.
Association of pure devotees must.
Association of devotees is the key. But the point that is being made here is, now just like we always say, we give this example of mirage in the desert. So in the mirage, what one sees? It appears as if there is water. But what does it mean? There is real water somewhere else. Correct? So same point here also. So he is experiencing some ecstatic symptoms, Because of the association, he does not have bhava, but he's experiencing some symptoms. That means what? That means at some stage of life, one can actually come to that real bhava. That is it. And how one can come? By association. Okay? Anything else? Okay, fine. So now let's go to the next chapter. Prema. Please read the first paragraph. Or 2 paragraphs you can read.
When one's desire to love Krishna in one's particular relationship becomes intensified, this is known as pure love of Godhead. In the beginning, a devotee is engaged in the two principles of devotional service by the order of his spiritual master. When one thereby becomes completely purified of all material contamination, there develops an attachment and taste for devotional service. This taste and attachment, when gradually intensified in the course of time, becomes love. The word love can be actually applied only in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the material world, love is not applicable at all. What goes on under the name of love in the material world is nothing but lust. There is a gulf of difference between love and lust, like the difference between gold and iron. In the Narad Pancharatra, it is clearly stated that when lust is completely transferred to the Supreme Godhead and the concept of kinship is completely reposed in him, such is accepted as pure love of God by great authorities like Bhishma, Prahlad, Uddhava and Narada. Great authorities like Bhishma have explained that love of Godhead means completely give up all so-called love for any other person. According to Bhishma, love means reposing one's affection completely upon one person, withdrawing all affinities for any other person.
Okay, good definition of love. Love means reposing one's affection completely upon one person, withdrawing all affinities for any other person.
This pure love can be transferred to the Supreme Personality of Godhead under 2 conditions: out of ecstasy and out of causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself.
Okay, so this is the definition of prema as given by Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Samyan masrita swanto mamatvatishayankitaha bhavasa eva sandratma budhai prema nigadyate. Read.
When that bhava softens, the heart completely becomes endowed with a great feeling of possessiveness in relation to the Lord and becomes very much condensed and intensified. It is called prema, love of Godhead, by learned scholars.
So we studied previously that at the stage of bhava, the heart begins to soften, correct? The heart begins to soften. Now what has happened? The softening of the heart is complete. So when that bhava softens the heart completely, and there's a great feeling of possessiveness, that Krishna is mine. So that is possessiveness, Krishna is mine. That is the mamatva. So then bhava sa eva sandratma. Sandratma means one of the characteristics we saw, no? Sandratma, Visheshatma. So it is incalculable condensed bliss, condensed. So very thick, condensed. So this is condensed love. So this is what is called as prema. Next. So the Swarup Lakshana of prema is bhava sa eva sandratma. It is the intensified state of bhava. That is the Swarup Lakshana. Good. And the Tadastha Lakshana is Samyan Masnita Swanto. Completely softens that. And Mamatva Atishayankitaha, marked by highly possessive ownership of Sri Krishna. Read.
In Bhava Bhakti, one gets vision of Lord and understands his eternal relationship with Krishna. However, in Prema Bhakti, one actually enters the Lord's pastime in one's eternal spiritual identity, overwhelmed with the mood that Krishna is my son, or Krishna is my friend, or Krishna is my lover.
So in Bhava Bhakti itself, one gets vision of the Lord sometimes. And he understands his eternal relation with Krishna. Okay, so this is at this stage that one actually understands. So Bhava Bhakti, very elevated platform. One cannot imagine my Swarupa is this and my Swarupa is that. Artificially one cannot imagine. One has to come on these elevated platforms, devotional service, then everything is revealed. And then in prema, what happens? One actually enters into the Lord's pastimes. In his Siddha Deha, one can enter into the Lord's pastimes. So that is what happens at the level of prema. Okay? So achieving prema again by two ways. One is by bhava and other is by Lord's extraordinary mercy. So prema from bhava, bhava from Vedi, Raganuga. What is the example for Vedi? Narad Muni. Example Raganuga? Chandrakanti. Okay, go ahead. So two subdivisions of prema arising from bhava. Veda bhavoto. Prema arising from bhava achieved through Vedi sadhana. So one reference is given this 11-40. Okay, read from the book. Ecstasy.
Ecstatic love of Godhead can be potentially invoked simply by following the rules and regulations of devotional service as they are prescribed in the scriptures under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master.
Okay, so that's Vedi Bhakti.
In 11th canto, 2nd chapter, 40th verse of Bhagavatam, this ecstatic love born of the execution of regulative devotional service is explained. A devotee, in the course of executing regulative principles of devotional service, develops his natural Krishna consciousness. And being thus softened at the heart, he chants and dances like a madman. While performing chanting of holy name of Lord, he sometimes cries, sometimes talks wildly, sometimes sings, and sometimes, without caring for any outsider, dances like a madman.
So that is the from Vedi Bhakti. A devotee in the course of executing the regulative principles of devotional service. So from Vedi Bhakti, one comes to bhava, prema, then he exhibits all these symptoms. And that example we have already seen is Narad Muni. Second is from Raganuga, and that we already read. This Chandrakanti. Prema rising from bhava achieved through Raganuga sadhana. That example is Chandrakanti. Then the next is prema rising from Lord's extraordinary mercy. The example is Gopis. Okay, now read that, the Lord's extraordinary mercy.
When a devotee is found to be always associated with the Lord in ecstatic love, it is to be understood that such a position has been awarded by Lord himself out of his causeless extraordinary mercy. An example of such extraordinary mercy is given in 11th canto, 12th chapter, 7th verse of Bhagavatam, wherein Lord tells Uddhava, the gopis in Vrindavan did not study the Vedas to achieve me, nor had they ever been in the holy places of pilgrimage, nor did they devotedly execute any regulative principle, nor did they undergo any kind of austerity. It is simply by my association that they have attained the highest perfection of devotional service.
So that is the example of the gopis. Continue.
From the example of Chandrakanti as found in the Padma Purana and from the example of gopis as found in Bhagavatam,
it is written Srimad Bhagavatam, no?
Srimad.
Why are you eating one word?
Srimad Bhagavatam, it appears that a devotee who always thinks of Krishna and who always chants his glories in ecstatic love, regardless of his condition, will attain the highest perfection of unalloyed devotional love due to the Lord's extraordinary mercy. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam. If a person worships, adores and loves Hari, the Supreme Lord, he should be understood to have finished all kinds of austerities, penances and similar processes for self-realization. On the other hand, if after undergoing all types of austerities, penances and mystic yoga practices one does not develop such love for Hari, then all his performances are to be considered a useless waste of time. If someone always sees Krishna inside and out, then it is to be understood that he has surpassed all the austerities and penances for self-realization. And if after executing all kinds of penances and austerities one cannot always see Krishna inside and out, then he has executed his performances uselessly.
Continue.
Spontaneous attraction to Krishna, which is said to be due to the extraordinary mercy of Lord, can be placed under two headings. One is profound veneration for the greatness of the Lord, and the other is one's being automatically attracted to Krishna without any extraneous consideration. In Narad Pancharatra, it is said that if on account of profound veneration for greatness of the Supreme Lord, one attains a great affection and steady love for him, one is certainly assured of attaining the four kinds of Vaishnava liberation, namely, achieving the same bodily features as the Lord, achieving the same opulences as the Lord, dwelling on planet where the Lord is residing, and attaining eternal association with the Lord. The Vaishnava liberation is completely different from Mayavad liberation, which is simply a matter of being merged into the effulgence of the Lord.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, so two types of prema. So basically that's what Prabhupada is describing here. So here the names are given. Read.
There are two types of prema bhakti. Mahatmya Jnana, prema mixed with the knowledge of the Lord's majesty, and the Kevala, unmixed, pure prema. Srila Prabhupada says that a prema can be placed under two headings. One is profound veneration for the greatness of the Lord, and the other is one's being automatically attracted to the Krishna without any extraneous consideration. Mahatma Jnana Prema, Narada Pancharatra listed prema imbued with the knowledge of the Lord's greatness. If on account of profound veneration for the greatness of the Supreme Lord, one attains the great affection and steady love for Him, one is certainly assured of achieving the four kinds of Vaishnava liberation. Devotee who achieves the bhava from the Vaidhi sadhana can attain the Mahatma Jnana Prema.
Okay, so this is those who practice Vaidhi sadhana. From Vaidhi they come to bhava and prema. So then what they get is this Mahatmya Gyan Prema, and this is what is there in Vaikuntha. So in Vaikuntha, all the Vaikuntha Vasis understand that Narayan is Supreme Personality of Godhead, their full knowledge. And therefore, there's practically only one rasa in Vaikuntha. What is that?
Dasya.
Dasya. Because they have full knowledge that Narayan is the Supreme Lord and we're simply servants. So that is what happens from Vaidhi sadhana. If one comes to prema, then he gets this Mahatmya Jnana Prema. Next.
Kevala Prema. Kevala Prema, pure and one-pointed prema, is not even slightly mixed with any other aspiration or interest, such as inspiration for Vaikuntha liberation or interest in the Lord's profound power and opulence.
Okay, so this is the example of the Brajvasis. So you know the Brajvasis, they don't even understand that Krishna is Supreme Lord. Right? So they simply have love for Krishna, pure love for Krishna. So their knowledge of Krishna's majesty, opulence is covered by that prema. So that is what is called as Kevala Prema. That's what Srila Prabhupada also is describing. Comes by? Mercy is always required. To come to prema, mercy is always required. Yes, so this Kevala Prema is basically from Vaidhi to Raganuga and Raganuga to Vrajaprem. That is Kevala Prema.
Then once come to bhava.
Yes,
Then
from
come
Vaidhi sadhana to bhava to prema. So that is Vaikuntha. One goes to Vaikuntha. So only when one goes through Raganuga, Raganuga means what?
Anuga, following.
Following whom?
Ragatmika.
Following the Ragatmika devotees. Who are the Ragatmika devotees? Brajvasis. So when one follows the Brajvasis, one can enter into Vrindavan, one can develop Vraja Prem. So that is Kevala Prem. So for this Kevala Prem, one has to go through Brajvasis. Because they have Kevala Prem. So if we also want that Kevala Prem, we have to go through them. Then we can also get the Kevala Prem. That is called Raganuga. Okay? Next. Okay, so that's basically what is there about prema. So Prabhupada concludes that by saying so as you can see, you read the last paragraph. Generally a devotee
who has achieved the causeless mercy of the Lord on account of the following the strict rules and regulations of devotional service becomes attracted by the supreme greatness of the Lord, by the transcendental beauty of the Lord, and by spontaneous execution of devotional service.
So you can see a devotee who has achieved causeless mercy on account of following strict rules and regulations. That means what? Vaidi. But at the same time, by the spontaneous execution of devotional service. What is that? Raganuga. So there is Vaidi also, there is Raganuga also. Go ahead.
To be more clear, by executing the regulative principles of devotional service, one can fully appreciate the transcendental beauty of the Lord. In any case, such exalted position are possible only by the extraordinary mercy of the Lord upon the devotees.
Yes, so ultimately, of course, to come to this Bhava Prema, it requires extraordinary mercy of the Lord upon the devotee. And then the last part is basically this 9 stages of bhakti from Shraddha to Prema. Adau Shraddha, tata sadhu sango, tha bhajana kriya, tato anartha nivritti syat, tato nishtha, ruchis tata asaktis, tato bhavas tata prema bhyudanchati, sadhakanam ayam premna pradhur bhave bhavet kramaha. Next. Read the translation.
From, from Shraddha to Prema, in the beginning there must be faith, then one becomes interested in associating with pure devotees. Thereafter, one is initiated by the spiritual master and executes the regulative principle under his orders. Thus, one is freed from all unwanted habits and becomes firmly fixed in devotional service. Thereafter, one develops taste and attachment. This is the way of Shraddha Bhakti.
Sadhana Bhakti.
Sadhana Bhakti. The executional of devotional service according to the regulative principles. Gradually, emotions intensify and finally there is a awakening of love. This is the gradual development of love of Godhead for the devotee interested in a Krishna consciousness.
That same thing Srila Prabhupada is explaining here. So now read from the book. Give the mic.
Many devotees.
Association with pure devotees.
Last. Although many different processes for developing love of God have been explained so far, Srila Rupa Goswami now gives us a general description of how one can best achieve such a high position. The beginning of ecstatic love of Godhead is basically faith. There are many societies and associations of the pure devotees, and if someone with just a little faith begins to associate with such societies, his advancement to pure devotional service is rapid. The influence of a pure devotee is such that if someone comes to associate with him with a little faith, one gets the chance of hearing about the Lord from authoritative scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Thus, by the mercy of the Lord, who is situated in everyone's heart, one gradually develops his faith in the description of such authoritative scriptures. This is the first stage of association with pure devotees.
What is that? What is the first stage?
Shraddha on the Shastra.
Adav Shraddha.
In second stage, after one becomes a little advanced and mature, he automatically offers to follow the principles of devotional service under the guidance of the pure devotee and accept him as the spiritual master.
So this is Sadhu Sangha.
Sadhu Sangha. In the next stage, under the guidance of the spiritual master, the devotee executes regulative devotional service, and as the result of such activities, he becomes freed from all unwanted occupations.
This is Bhajan Kriya and then Anartha Nivritti.
When he is freed from unwanted occupations, his faith becomes steadily fixed.
That is
Nishtha.
Nishtha.
And it develops a transcendental taste for devotional service.
That is Ruchi.
Then attachment.
That is Asakti.
Then
Then
ecstasies.
Bhava.
And in the last stage, there is a pure love of Godhead. These are the different stages of the development of pure love. Only the most fortunate persons can achieve such success in life.
Yes, only the most fortunate persons can achieve such success in life. Not easy for everyone. One has to be fortunate to receive mercy.
Those who are simply academic students of the Vedic scriptures cannot appreciate how such a development takes place. In the Narada Pancharatra, Lord Shiva therefore tells Parvati, "My dear supreme goddesses, you may know from me that any person who has developed the ecstasy of love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead and who is always merged in the transcendental bliss on account of this love
cannot even pursue the material distress or happiness coming from the body or mind. The affection and the dealings of love that are different branches of the original tree of love precede many varieties of affectionate manifestations that will not be discussed here. These different manifestations have been described by Sanatana Goswami in his Bhagavatamrit. Although the subject of such affections and dealing of love is very confidential, Sanatana Goswami has described them very explicitly. Srila Rupa Goswami thus concludes the first division of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, offering up his treatise for the transcendental pleasure of Sanatana Goswami, who has established the transcendental beauty, and of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami. It appears from the statement that the great Srila Jiva Goswami was not yet active when Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu was written. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta summary study of the first division of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu up to the description of ecstatic love of God, which are to follow next.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki jai, Samved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Any questions?
Jiva Goswami was quite active, na? That's why that lila comes when Vallabhacharya comes.
But when that was later. So this is when he was writing, it seems he was not active.
Okay.
So after it was ready, then that passed him. Any other questions?
Guruji, here is mentioned only the most fortunate person can achieve such a success in life. But we all are most fortunate person. But we all are most fortunate person.
Yes, we are all very fortunate.
But if we try, if we try, then
yes. So we have already received the seed of bhakti by the causeless mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada. We have all been made bhagyavan by receiving the bhakti lata bij. Now what we have to do? Water. Who has to do that? Yes, I have to do it. That is my business, to do the watering process and fencing. What is fencing? Association of devotees and yes, following the rules and regulations given by the spiritual master, that is the fencing. Then one will avoid offenses. So basically these are the two things that need to be done, that's all. Water and fencing. That's all. Only these two things have to be done. If these two things are done, then the bhakti lata will grow nicely.
Little different. Prabhupada has so many words spoken about book distribution. And we hear from other different senior devotees. If you want to please me, distribute my books. There is no any shastras where it is written, but Prabhupada is saying, and like that, Rai Sampur also we heard very direct statement that you will go back to Godhead by just distributing in this. So is that statement just for encouragement to do book distribution, or it actually has, actually Prabhupada will get pleased and then?
What do you think?
For my understanding, Prabhupada will be pleased and surely mercy.
So how is there any doubt about that?
In the Shastra, it is nowhere it is written.
On what basis are you saying this?
Pleasing a spiritual master, like he is directly instructing distribute books. So there are so many anarthas and all that we have to go through, pure, like so many things just we studied. So that we will not able to do all that.
So that's what we have been studying, na? So yes, anarthas are there, everything is there, but how can we overcome them?
Following the instructions.
Following instructions for what?
For pleasing.
To pleasing, for pleasing Guru and Krishna. When please Guru and Krishna, what one gets? Blessings, grace, that is what one gets. And that blessings of the acharyas will help us overcome the anarthas. So we are doing services, we are doing our sadhana, everything we are doing only for one purpose, and that is pleasing and attracting grace. That is the purpose. So, Srila Prabhupada is definitely emphasized on book distribution. At the same time, if our immediate authorities have told us, no, do some other service, then we should do that. So the ultimate purpose is to please the Vaishnavas and to attract their mercy. That is the goal. ठीक है? Anything else? Huh? Okay, we already read this. Okay, and where read it?
The example is given that on the full moon there are some spots which may appear to be pock marks. Still, the illumination spread by the full moon cannot be checked. Similarly, a little fault in the midst of volumes of devotional service is not at all to be counted as a fault. Attachment for Krishna is transcendental bliss. Amid unlimited volumes of transcendental bliss, a spot of some material defect cannot act in any way.
Okay, so this is how we should see the faults in other devotees. So if we see faults in other devotees, we should see them as spots on the moon. So amidst volumes of devotional service, one should not take the spots very seriously. Okay. And if they're serious, we can report it to the concerned authorities. In that way, we can experience transcendental bliss. So, as Srila Prabhupada said, this book is the law book for all devotees of ISKCON. And so, therefore, we have studied so many rules and regulations. Laws means rules and regulations, correct? 64 angas of bhakti. What are they? Rules and regulations. Some do, some do not. So, to the degree we follow them strictly, to that degree we can please Guru and Krishna and make progress. Then we can gradually progress to achieve the fruit of Krishna Prem. All right. Online, any questions?
Guruji, this example you gave about Vedi Bhakti, somebody who is perfecting through Vedi Bhakti, and that Narad Muni was an example. So so then the later on this topic came that when somebody perfects, somebody gets bhava through Vedi Bhakti, then he attains Vaikuntha. So, like generally, we see Narad Muni is involved in all the leelas. So, is there anything told about Narad Muni that he is in Aishwarya Bhav or he is in Vaikuntha, because he is there in Krishna's pastime also? So, how to what is the Narad Muni's constitutional
What
position?
is his prema?
Huh.
So, so definitely his prema is this Mahatma Jnana prema, where he is having he definitely knows, Narayana is supreme, he has full knowledge about the Supreme Lord, he knows everything. So therefore his prema is definitely this Mahatma Jnana prema. At the same time, we know that he wanted to get Vraja prema,
Yeah.
so therefore he came to Vrindavan, correct?
Yes.
And then there's a pastime, right? He becomes
Yeah. Naradi Gopi. He becomes Naradi Gopi.
So I think so they told him to take bath in Kusum Sarovar, right?
Yes.
And then he becomes Naradiya Gopi, and then he has some darshan of the Ras Leela something. So that is how, if one wants Brajaprem, one has to follow the footsteps of the Brajvasis. One has to serve. So that's why Lakshmi ji could not get. Because she had her Aishwarya Bhav. So when she was told to follow the gopis, how can I follow gopis? So therefore she could not get it. Because if one wants Brajaprem, one has to follow Brajvasis. So therefore Narad Muni also, he has basically Mahatma Gyan Prem. So therefore Brajaprem is so rare. Therefore Mahaprabhu is being glorified so much. Anarpita Charim Chara. Even Brahma and Shiva don't have. So we know Shiva also, he also wanted to get Vraj Prem, then what happened?
He also came to Vrindavan.
Huh?
He also came to Brindavan and he was there waiting to enter into the arena, Ras arena, and he was
Yes,
not let entry.
yes. And then he becomes Gopeshwar Mahadev.
Ishwar
He
Madhav.
becomes Gopeshwar Mahadev simply to guard the Rasasthali. That is all. He is not given entrance. Think about it. Even Brahma and Shiva don't get Vraja Prem. That is what Mahaprabhu is giving. Think about our good fortune. We have entrance into Vraja Prem, which even Brahma, Shiva, Lakshmi don't get. Is this point making some sense? No, if one actually understands this, one will faint. Something which is not available even to Brahma and Shiva, that is what Mahaprabhu is giving.
Like Mahaprabhu is giving as a seed or what? Like, so you mentioned.
See, now this is called logical analysis. So seed is not enough now. Huh? Now you're saying, okay, why only seed? You only water also. That is what. So already so much shortcut has been given, now more shortcut. So just like somebody is given, the example is, jackfruit, so complicated, somebody removes all that thick covering, one has to put oil on the hand, do all that big tamasha, then remove those fruits. And then if somebody says, no, even chewing is difficult, you chew it and how much you expect? So one is getting seed of Vraja Prem, that is not enough. What more you require? At least one is getting a chance to enter into Vraja Prem. Something so rare. That is what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying. Anarpita Charim Chira. Long time. Never ever been given. That is what Mahaprabhu is giving. So that is what happened when Yamaraj heard about Jagai Madai, what happened? He fainted on the chariot, he fainted on the spot, he fainted. So, if one actually understands the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that is what will happen, one will faint.
चैतन्य चंद्रेर कृपा करो विचार विचार करले चित्ते पाइवे चमत्कार.
Correct, yes. So some vichar has to be done. That is what, at least today and tomorrow we have to do some vichar on this mercy, this causeless mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That such fallen souls like all of us, Kali Yuga, such people are being offered the highest in the entire creation. There is nothing higher than this, Vraja Prem. That is what Mahaprabhu is giving. And that too for what? Nothing.
Peanuts.
The only thing is readiness to accept. That's all. If one is just ready to accept, Mahaprabhu is ready to give. And one has to simply follow the simple process. Kevala Anandaka. Chanting, dancing, feasting. Literally, there's nothing else. The only thing one has to be careful about is offenses. That is the only thing. Otherwise, there's nothing else. No complicated exercises, gymnastics, this, that, nothing. There is no compulsion, one has to become a big Pandit, Sanskrit scholar, one has to master all the Shastras. Is there any compulsion? No. Absolutely no compulsion. What is the compulsion? There's absolutely no compulsion. That's how easy the process is. And for that, one is getting the highest. Okay, so this is our ultimate good fortune.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, just I wanted to know, Ms. Prabhupada used to say that just finish your business in this very lifetime and go home back to Godhead. But suppose, and also in some statements, Ms. Bhakti Vinod Thakur says it takes 3 lifetimes. But my question is not on that premise. But the thing is that you told that in the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there is a great benedictions of following the Raganuga Marg is there. And there is Mr. chances of Braja Prem is also there in this movement. But suppose if it takes much more lifetime, not in this lifetime one finishes his job, then what is the chance that he will again come back in the ISKCON movement and he will get the Braja Prem? Or is there a chance of deviation also that next time he will deviate?
That is why finish the business in one life.
And my question was on what Ms. Premises Prabhupada was telling that he finish your this job in this very lifetime, and Bhakti Vinod Thakur is saying 3 lifetimes. So it is on what premises Prabhupada is telling, something like that. The process is very sound. It is something like a foolproof system he is giving.
It is possible. It is possible. What to speak of one lifetime?
Moment.
Yes, one moment is sufficient to get Braja Prem. One moment is sufficient. Why you are speaking of even one lifetime? But depends on whom. And now you bring in other factors. But depends on whom? It depends on, yes, it depends on me. My intensity of practicing devotional service. The entire seed has been given. Seed has been given. To everyone, seed has been given. But who has to do the watering? Who has to do the fencing? Mahaprabhu has to do, right? At least this much we have to do. All depends on us. Now it all depends on us. Now there's no point in blaming anybody else. Mahaprabhu has given the seed of love of Godhead, each one of us has got. Vraja Prem. Chika? Anything else online?
Ruji, exactly the same thing what you mentioned is there is very nice sloka Chaitanya Charitamrita, this Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhyalila 2.82, the translation.
What's that? Say that again.
Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhyalila 2.82, the same thing what you said is mentioned, that no one, not even Lord Brahma, can ascertain or even taste a drop of this confidential ocean of ecstasy. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of his causeless mercy, has distributed this love of Godhead all over the world. Thus, there cannot be any incarnation more munificent than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There is no greater donor who can describe his transcendental qualities.
Yes. Not even Lord Brahma can ascertain or even taste a drop of this confidential ocean of ecstasy. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's causeless mercy has distributed this love of Godhead all over the world. Of course, all over the world that, of course, Srila Prabhupada did that. But of course it's...
We see Brahma is getting in form of Haridas Thakur.
Yes.
So
that is why he came as Haridas Thakur. Any purport is there? No, no purport. What is this? Such topics are not to be discussed freely, because if they are, no one will understand them. Such are the wonderful pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, this is a postgraduate study. Unto one who is able to understand, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has shown mercy, by giving him the association of the servant of his own servants. So this is how Mahaprabhu has facilitated getting the love of Godhead, by giving association of servant of his servant. And for us, of course, it's Srila Prabhupada and his servants. That is how we got the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let's read this purport. Read.
An ordinary person cannot understand the transcendental ecstasies in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Unfit persons who try to understand them are perverted into the Sahajiya, Baula and other sampradayas. Thus, the teachings are perverted. Even learned scholars in the academic field cannot understand the transcendental bliss and ecstasy exhibited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his pure devotees. One must be fit to understand the purport of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's activities.
Okay. आगे क्या? Jewel, the pastor and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the topmost of jewels, they have been kept in the storehouse of Swarup Damodar Goswami, who has explained them to Raghunath Das Goswami, who has repeated them to me. Whatever little I've heard from Raghunath Das Goswami, I've described in this book, which is presented to all the devotees. Okay, fine. All right. Okay, so thank you all very much for kindly agreeing to tolerate all this big austerity throughout these so many days. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to render some service. And in your association, I got an opportunity to study the Bhagavad Gita and the Nectar of Devotion. And so definitely it's a great advantage for me. This is the perfection of life, to study, to read and understand in the association of devotees, Macchitta Madgata Prana. So I'm extremely grateful to all of you for kindly giving me this service and this wonderful opportunity to read Srila Prabhupada's books. And we hope that this will help you in your practices of devotional service. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. So, on behalf of all the devotees, Guruji would like to express our gratitude to you because of your years of experience and maturity and practice of Krishna consciousness. You have given us really wonderful insights, both in Bhagavad Gita and Nectar of Devotion. And especially this Gaur Purnima is coming, and this current topic was very, very relevant because, as we were discussing now also, what rarity of devotional service which we have got by mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And also, we are fortunate that we could learn so many things from Srila Prabhupada's purports. Although we might have read those purports many times, but when it came from you, it was really touching. It like lightened up because we never read that so seriously. And you gave so many instructions from Srila Prabhupada purports. So we are really grateful to you. And one to know more devotees wanted to say some things.
Hare Krishna. So we are very thankful to Prabhuji, especially in my case, I used to not have much inclination towards reading of this philosophy, and I was not much. But when Prabhuji has presented in a very nice way, like Prabhuji's voice modulation and all, it's like very attractive and very interesting, so that I can understand. And many devotees in our batch also, they have shared this. And during our TTC also, we have got so many learning experiences when I give some small classes to youths. So earlier it was not satisfying for me also. But the Prabhuji's that objective and goal of the project that I implemented while giving lectures, so that helped me a lot. So I'm very thankful to Prabhuji for giving me such a nice training. Right.
So, Uddhav Anandpur, you wanted to say?
I'm so very, very thankful, Prabhuji, that we got this once in a lifetime opportunity to hear from you the entire course from Bhagavad Gita and Nectar of Devotion. As somewhere I heard the statement that a perfect teacher is one who knows what the students actually need and he delivers them. So I could see that clearly, that how you were never in the mood of completing the session just somehow for the sake of completing, but every time, from every in each and every chapter, in each and every sloka, what are the carry home messages, you were very much eager to give that to us. And one another very important aspect which touched my heart is your Prabhupada consciousness. Practically for everything you have an example, or you have something to share from the life of Srila Prabhupada, so which is something very much touching to me personally, that how much you remember Srila Prabhupada and you are exactly presenting it, taking the example from Srila Prabhupada's life. So, and one time, once in the course of, I think it was in Bhagavad Gita discussion, some devotee asked a question regarding how to understand the commentary of the different acharyas. So you, out of your humility, you mentioned that personally for me that all the different acharyas commentary I don't understand much. That's what you said. But then in the course of our entire course, we could clearly see how much you were soaked in the words of the acharyas. Practically anybody asks a question, you give always a reference that okay, this particular acharya have already said that. I am not telling in my own. So it's very exemplary to see such an example, and I personally feel myself very much fortunate to be a part of this particular batch where we got to learn from you this vital lessons on our Krishna consciousness journey. Thank you very much.
Vamshidhar Gopesh bro.
Thank you very much. Actually, there is a lot to say, but I'd like to tell that apart from teaching Bhagavad Gita and NOD, you have practically shown us how to implement those things in our life. The way you personally demonstrated by telling by emphasizing the points again and again, how to practice the things Prabhupada has given us, like how do one approach Bhagavatam class, how do one approach Mangalarti, how should we approach Darshanarti, how should we approach in general any class which is being held in temple, that you should be there on time there and all. So personally, generally I generally don't ask questions anywhere, Prabhu. Only it was because you that I could ask some questions. So please forgive me if sometimes I would have been little rude or improper in my behavior.
Thank you for your very insightful questions, encouraging a lot of fresh discussions.
Apurva Govind bro.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for having such a wonderful discussion on the topics of Bhagavad Gita, be it Vaishnava association, be it how to take care of not committing offenses. Actually, I already have a degree of Bhakti Shastri. I've attended a Bhakti Shastri at Tinjawadi, but I was not satisfied that I have got some understanding about these topics. But when I heard your classes, the understanding synced quite a lot. Especially in Bhagavad Gita and Nectar of Devotion. I was behind Shuklambar Anand Prabhu that, whether NOD classes will be taken by Prabhuji or not. Especially because of your attachment to Srila Prabhupada purpose, Srila Prabhupada findings, and in other words, the Acharya's writing. So, just like the Uddhav Anand Prabhu was mentioning, you always mention the Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary or any other Acharya's commentary. That is the thing. Even examples also you don't quote it from your personal realizations. You directly quote the examples from the what Srila Prabhupada have quoted. So that thing attracted me, and that thing gave me an impetus to think on whatever, because I have a lot of conditioning of mental speculation, and considering that as to be true and putting forward that as to be true. So that gave me an impetus to think if whether Srila Prabhupada or any of the past acharyas have given the reference. So that was the most learning point for me, apart from the realizations that you share. And one most wonderful thing is, even if the Prabhupada have given 2-3 lines about something, just like in last classes we were talking about handling money, but you gave a lot of importance, how one can be cautious. So these practical learnings give you a lot of impetus for us, and not to miss not to miss the on the punctuality part, wherein you in one class of yours was or one or maybe 5 minutes of the emphasis on punctuality was enough for us to be there in the classes on time. So that was the impact of your Vani. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for all such wonderful association. Looking forward for your association in future also. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Ujjwal Nilmadi.
Hare Krishna. So I like Prabhuji is very open and is not so much strict that nobody should able to ask the questions. Actually, so sometimes we fear a lot to ask question in front of and what the teacher will chastise or what. But Prabhuji was any type of question he was accepted and very respectfully given all the answer. So that was very nice that somebody matlab, our questions can be answered in such a nice way. Another point I like in Prabhuji is about his deep conviction that how Srila Prabhupada is teachings are the final, and just by studying what Prabhupada has given, that we can achieve all the highest thing. So here by his, I also matlab, seen that how he was always repeating that just follow this process and then there is a no fall down, because in any past of our ISKCON was always repeating, we have seen somebody is diverting from this process, he has fallen down. So Prabhuji has very deep faith that by just following what Prabhupada has given, one will never fall. And he also very strict any deviation, just like we heard this NOD. So any kind of matlab, at this current stage we are trying to find above the higher things. He was very strict that no, we should follow this, and like Sahajya and all that. So I many points are that already devotees have told. So just I want to thank Prabhuji that giving this nice opportunity to hear from him. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
So, Vittal Vishnu Group.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Prabhuji. Please forgive me, Prabhuji, for my not being so conscious in classes, but actually there are many situations practically not to be described. In many situations, I was not present properly in classes. But Prabhuji, regarding your classes, I like Bhagavad Gita classes from heart. Actually, I have seen you like from when lockdown was there, you were there in NVCC. So the kind of sincerity which you are carrying in your heart, you are not the person who is only speaking, Prabhuji. We have seen you, your schedule, we have heard from devotees and practically seen every day how consistently you are practicing Krishna consciousness. So your Achar and Prachar both are very exemplary. And by your examples, Prabhuji, you have shown us how to being loyal to Srila Prabhupada, because there is a chance of getting deviated through the many Rasik commentaries of Acharyas going here and there. But you always kept us in line with Prabhupada. And you have given us that conviction that everything is there in Srila Prabhupada books. And your focus is on the process. The process is always going to give the result. We have to be practiced very nicely, very sincerely. So I heartily grateful to you, Prabhuji, for your association, for giving an opportunity to learn from you such a vital courses like Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhakti Samvara Sindhu, which is a law book of ISKCON. So thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I know many devotees want to say, but we have some limitations of time. So we conclude here. But just a small gift from on behalf of all the devotees, His Grace Sadhu Sangh Chaitanya Prabhu will offer to Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki